us live, guys. Throw in where you're joining from. It's always good to see familiar faces and everything. Hopefully, we're going live on YouTube here. We'll have a few YouTube viewers coming on as well. And ultimately, the goal here is for all of us to walk away with a plan. You know what I mean? And that's truly something that I know Guy and I firmly believe in, that we are who we are today from implementing a plan and chipping away and making forward progress in that plan. And I'm actively encouraging you to participate in that process as well. If you have never done this process before, let this be sort of that discussion and those guidelines on how you can get started in doing this. If you saw the agenda for today's conversation, we want to talk about sort of what is our plan for 2022. And that's a general question, right? It's very holistic. And we're going to be talking about the Wheel of Life. That's in the affiliate assets. If you guys have logged into your Affiliate Central and looked at those affiliate assets, you'll see the Wheel of Life. And then all of this will lead us all right now. Your input, and anybody else on YouTube, if you're watching, you can go on ahead and really just put in any comment or question you have. Ultimately, after that, what is your plan for 2022 and the roundtable discussion? I'm going to talk about a plan that I put together as part of my own personal planning process that is more focused on the LFI area and how I truly believe anybody can set themselves on a path to earn $1,000 a month residually. I've mentioned this in the past. You know, I believe the stat was out, something like 85% of Americans can't afford an extra $500 expense if it was unexpected. And we want to make sure that there's a path where nobody has an excuse not to go down this process. You've heard me say time and time again, it's not going to be a get rich quick. This is going to be a process that we build passive residual income over time. So we're going to cover that at the end, but I want to jump straight into it and go through a little bit of that process. It looks like we're spinning up live on YouTube now, but the first thing I actually want to bring up is this little sheet. It may not be in the affiliate assets, but I will get it in there. It's part of our mindset of a champion. I love to call this out because in my mind, this levels the playing field for everybody. And we all have 86,400 seconds in the day. Okay, full stop. I mean, what are you doing with yours is a big question. And the other thought is, did you know that what you use your time to do result in taking you where you want to go? And a lot of people, I think, get lost in that. They don't know maybe where they want to go. And then they, as we've heard Mindset of a Champion say, you know, they end up being a wandering generality versus a meaningful specific. And ultimately, if we know our meaning and we can be specific in that meaning, and we can lay out a process and a plan on that, we can put together the systems and the processes to make forward progress towards that. Ultimately, with the goal of achieving that vision or those goals, but independent of making forward progress towards that. That's the biggest thing here is making forward progress. So it's not about perfection. I'm going to start by saying that. It's about making forward progress. And then really continuing to spot check ourselves and measure towards that forward progress so we can validate. Next thing I want to bring up, and I'm just going to talk briefly about this and then open this up for some conversations, but this is the Wheel of Life. If you have found this in your affiliate assets, this is an amazing tool for one, helping you spot check where you currently are, but two, to where you want to get to. And I think those are the two things I want to cover real quick. And then open this up for any questions if you haven't worked through the Wheel of Life on why this is important and why I would encourage everybody, even if your focus is just on the career or the finance side, for being on this call as an LFI affiliate, but also that holistic approach. So on here, you're going to see the 7 spokes. You're going to see the physical, the family, the mental, the financial, the spiritual, the career, and the personal. And the first step in the whole planning process, everybody, isn't to decide where you want to go. It's to spot check where you are. And if you haven't taken an opportunity to do the baseline measurement, here is where I am, and then set a goal to work towards, and then measure against where you are to where you're going, you're not going to know whether you're making forward progress or not. Many of you know I shared a book earlier in Q4, Born to Win. A lot of this is coming out of that book. There's another book that Guy and I have started to implement as part of our pouring into ourself, and we encourage you to look at these. One of them we're doing right now is Atomic Habits. And again, a lot of this is just about how can we do something so that the incremental daily work leads to the forward progress. I think so much we get caught up in this trap of, this is the monumental goal, this is the BHAG, and if I don't accomplish that immediately and perfectly, I have failed completely. And the reality is that is not the case. Anybody who's ever achieved success I'll hold up my hand in certain areas of the wheel, small daily progress, and sometimes it doesn't feel measurable. It's not until we sort of step back and we look at that progress. And Guy, who couldn't make it today, was talking about some stuff that he came up with or pulled out of the Atomic Habits. And it's really that we have this idea of making linear progress. And it's just this linear progress that we make every time we work towards something. And this is the trap, right? We say, oh, we're not making enough progress fast enough, so we just either burn ourselves out or we give up on working towards that ultimate end result. And the reality is the progress curve is more parabolic. And so when you think about change over time and you're looking at it on a daily, a weekly, or a monthly basis, it doesn't seem like much. So you need to spot check and measure it over time and make a commitment to yourself to work on making forward progress over a certain duration and then stopping and checking. For the Wheel of Life and measuring the Wheel of Life, the suggestion in the book is to do it every 6 months. I think that's a great thing, but that requires what? Work over a 6-month period of time. And I think we can all commit to that. Again, my plan for 2022, as I'll go over at the end of this, is going to last for 12 months. It's going to be 52 weeks, but I'm going to be spot checking it well before a 6-month period. That's just when they suggest spot checking on here. But there's things we can spot check on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, a monthly basis, a weekly basis, and even a daily basis to make that forward progress. So before I continue on, are there any questions as it relates to the Wheel of Life and spot checking where you're at right now? Anybody out there? Thoughts? Anything to add, Shelley?
Add something? Okay, so I'm actually going through school right now full time to be a life coach. One of the things they teach you is the Wheel of Life, obviously, and I've been doing the Wheel of Life every year for years now on my business. But something that they showed me that actually goes a little deeper is our values and our intrinsic values and how they relate to us even accomplishing our goals. So you really have to look at who you are. What does happiness mean to you? What does freedom mean to you? Self-respect. Is a comfortable life, is it worth a comfortable life? Is that worth more than your self-respect? When you really have to balance out what your intrinsic goals or your intrinsic values are to make that wheel happen. And I think that's the piece that kind of has been missing for so many years, that I've seen anyways, that I kind of want to pass on to people. There's an actual like a survey thing that they give you that I've got. I can totally upload that if you want, or send it to you.
Sure.
And you can have people, they can use that to get down to what their values are too, and then they can further progress their goals.
I think that's so important, and I want to thank you so much for contributing that, because there is all of this stuff that comes along with executing a plan, and part of that hinges on the why and on the desire that you're trying to do. And look, if you don't want it bad enough, if you don't desire it bad enough, if it's not part of that core value that Shelley just talked about there, you'll never achieve that goal. You know what I mean? You'll self-sabotage yourself. You'll do all of those things. But if the goal, or if the elements you want to accomplish within balancing your Wheel of Life and sort of, that next part of, after you've spot checked your Wheel of Life, what do 10s in every spoke of the Wheel of Life mean for you? A lot of that's based on what Shelley's talking about. What are your values? What impact do you want to have? Like, all of those elements, and there's a lot of great information in that book, Born to Win, as well, that talks about, they call them the stones, right? And it's about honesty and trust and all these other things that you value. Because if you sacrifice those values to get or to work towards that goal, it's just not going to happen. But if you lean on those values as part of it, you end up getting to do all of the things that you are working towards accomplishing. And I think that's a big thing. When I spot check this for myself personally, it's like the physical stuff, and it's all based on you and where you are at. You know what I mean? This isn't my plan for my life, and here's the cookie cutter, and you follow that. And I think that's important for everybody who's seeing this, is this is more about you setting yourself up to be the best you that you can be. And knowing and understanding that you are capable of doing that if you want to put in the effort and the work to achieve it. And so I think that's very powerful when you set your baseline. When you look at, like, physically, am I a 10 out of 10 physically? I'll be the first to raise my hand and say no. At times I feel like I'm a 2 out of 10. I feel unhealthy sometimes. I feel overweight sometimes. I feel unathletic sometimes. And I want to work on all of those areas. So when I visualize what does a 10 out of 10 mean for me, it may not mean a certain number, like a weight on a scale. It might mean that I just want to feel physically fit, and then what will it take to get there? I can start making a plan of action. And the reality is we can do that for every single area of the wheel of life. And that's what I really wanted to call out during the first section of this discussion, is it really is about this holistic balance. Because there have been times where I've been a 10 out of 10 on certain spokes of the wheel of life, but it was sacrificing some of the other spokes. And what I realized in hindsight is that ride is super bumpy when, 100% of your focus is on career and you let family slip, or you let health slip, or you let, your personal health slip. So, this is something I wanted to call out and challenge everybody on, is if you haven't taken an opportunity to go through this process for yourself, you won't know where you are going, let alone where you are starting from. So I'm going to open this up for any additional discussion on the wheel of life. If anybody has a question, Yeah, was there? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you've got a question. Is this the wheel of life on LFI Facebook? It might be listed on the LFI Facebook. I know if you log into your affiliate.lfi.com, if you've joined as an affiliate, it is under the affiliate assets. And again, it's labeled the wheel of life. There's only about 4 folders in there right now, and it will cover all of these things. And this is in direct relation to what we've learned in 2021 through our partnership with Mindset of a Champion, and some of the stuff we've gone through with the Born to Win book, which is Zig Ziglar. Thoughts, questions from anybody out there? Have you guys all done your wheel of life and executed that so that you can start working on a plan to achieve those 10 out of 10s? I want this to be conversational, everybody. If you feel like you got it done, I applaud you for that. Let me know if there's something you can contribute then to our audience here. For me, I think it's part of thinking, planning, and preparing so that we can all expect to win. I don't know of anybody who's ever successfully and consistently won at things without having first thought and visualized those things, set a plan up to achieve those things, and then executed on that plan. Yeah, I see a hand up. Go on ahead, unmute yourself, and you're welcome to contribute.
Okay, well, I did the Wheel of Life back in October when I came to the conference.
Yes.
But how often do you think we have to reset and rewind it? I mean, look at it and access it. Put it that way.
So on the Wheel of Life, a good spot check, if you're blocking out your 2022, my recommendation would be to do it this week or the first week of 2022, and then every 6 months thereafter at a minimum. That's a big thing. So that way you can track or measure any progress along the way. Now, there are elements within your plan of attack on the wheel of life and balancing out that spoke that you're going to spot check sooner. You're going to spot check quarterly or monthly, even weekly or daily in some instances, because ultimately what this is going to contribute to is helping us lay out what I would call our daily moo, our method of operation. What are we going to be doing consistently each and every day to make forward progress on achieving what we want in the wheel of life? So hopefully that answers your question. At a minimum, I'm going to already set myself, and I encourage you to do the same thing, a reminder 6 months from now on my calendar that I'm spot checking the wheel of life. And again, there are going to be things that we're going to do consistently. Some of them will happen every 6 months, like spot checking the wheel of life, or every quarter. How did I do this quarter versus last quarter? Or every month, how did I do this month versus last month on making progress on each of these areas, all the way down to a daily basis spot check that takes, maybe 5 minutes to ask yourself at the end of the day, just to make sure you are making forward progress.
Okay, like consistently, okay, let's just say in a week's time, how could you like monitor your progress? I mean, I understand drawing the wheel of life, but how do you know if you exceeded in each one? Just because you do it, that don't mean you actually exceeded. So how would you actually gauge yourself?
When we want to be meaningfully specific, when we're thinking about what a 10 out of 10 looks like in your wheel of life. So when you step back and you say, what does family look like for me as a 10 out of 10 versus where I'm at right now? That's going to inform the daily habits that will help you lead yourself to being a 10 out of 10. And you're gonna know that you're making forward progress when you know that you're being consistent on the daily habits or system pieces that are leading towards that end result. So that's really what you're spot checking more on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Am I being consistent with my habits, one, and are my habits validating that they're leading me closer to that end goal, the 10 out of 10 in my wheel of life? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's where I'm saying when you sit down, actually be meaningful and specific in looking at this and taking time to, one, spot check where I'm at right now. How can I know where I'm going if I don't know where I'm at? And then number two, where I want to get to. And for you, it's going to be based on all the factors in your life. For me, it's based on all the factors of my life. I even talk about my wheel of life will change over my lifetime because we're in different seasons of our life, right? For me, I'm a 40-year-old guy with two young children, you know what I mean? In the halfway point of my life, if I'm thinking of it holistically, okay? For you, it's going to be completely different. So when I answer these questions, it's not just where I am right now, it's where do I want to be at right now? And that may change as I go through over time, every 6 months spot checking this. And that's part of the ability to course correct, right? It's like pulling out our compass and saying, am I on track? And look, we're not going to be, the same person we were 20 years ago. And that's sort of the scale that I like to think on, right? Not just years, but decades even on where I want to get to.
So you said is where I'm going and how I will get to it?
Yes. That's
okay.
A huge thing, and again, where am I at right now? That's a big thing too, because we are at where we're at because of what we're doing every day. We already all run a system. We all have a daily method of operation. And what we want to reflect on is what we're currently doing every day, leading us to where we want to get to, or sustaining us because we're at where we want to be. You know what I mean? And if you're at where you want to be, congratulations. That's awesome. You know what I mean? What you're doing has gotten you there, and consistently staying there will keep you there. But if you're not at where you want to be, guess what? There's hope. You can still get to where you're going. It's just a matter of making a plan, turning that plan into action steps, and then following those action steps. And we hear about it all the time. Like, what's the secret to success? What's the hidden easy button or the one thing that I can do that's going to change everything around? And the reality is the secret is implementing a plan and following through with those steps and being consistent on it. And if you luck out and it happens a little bit faster, awesome. But the inevitability of it happening increases exponentially when you start to follow and put a plan into action. And that's the reality of it. Ask anybody who's seen success, and I've seen it in all different areas of life. The first time I saw it, I was young. I was in high school, okay? We wanted to win a state championship football. We wanted to be state champions. And our coach walked in and he said, guys, I'm going to lay out a plan, and if we execute on this plan, we will become state champions. And that's exactly what we did. And we did it as a team, and we all worked together, and the progress wasn't overnight. It was one practice at a time, one day at a time, one game a week, all the way up to winning. And then we came back and we reflected on each week's progress, right? In sports, it's like doing game film. You do game film before you go play the game. It's part of practice. You do game film after you played the game so you can learn and get better, and you repeat that process over and over again. That was just in athletics, but that bodes really well with my physical stuff when I'm thinking about what do I need to implement in order to, achieve this. So for me, for physically, it's based on abs. My goal for 2022, I'll throw it out there, is to have the six pack. You know what I mean? What is it going to take to get there? A specific body fat percentage, probably between 12 and 15%. What am I going to have to do to get to it? There are 1,000 different paths to get from point A to point B. For me personally, it's got to be sustainable in the long term. There have been most of you don't know this. I've got a confession to make. I used to be a lot heavier, to the tune of 340 pounds. I've lost over 140 pounds and been able to keep a lot of that off. Why? Because I followed a system or a process, and it yielded predictable results. And that's what I want to share with everybody else, is if you knew that there was a path where you could achieve anything that you wanted, if you were willing to put in the work, the question then becomes, what do you want to achieve, right? And it's going to be different for each of us, and we all need to look at it holistically, because I will tell you right now, if you only focus on one of the spokes, you will lose out on all of the other ones. And the typical trap that everybody gets in, it's the financial spoke, right? All of my problems will be answered if I just had this big stack of cash. And I know plenty of 7, 8-figure type people, and some of them are miserable. Some of them aren't happy at all, guys. You know what I mean? But I know plenty of people who are millionaires or 100,000aires or whatnot, but they're holistic in their approach, and they are some of the most joyful and happy people that I've ever met. And I'd like to say that I'm one of those people. I may not have all the riches in the world, but that's not what my focus is, and that's not what is important to me. I think the other thing that is a big switch that can be flipped for people is going from a self-centered view to an others-centered view. And again, I'm going to lean back on Zig Ziglar and say we can get everything we want in life by helping enough other people get what they want. And we're going to talk about that when we get back to an LFI plan to create $1,000 a month in passive residual income. But you want to go through every area, right? Physical, I know in detail, where am I at right now? Guys, I don't have a six pack, but I'm going to do the steps necessary this year to get there. And they're going to be steps that I am 100% or at least at a minimum 90% confident that I can commit to. Why? When I do that over the course of time, the results are going to happen automatically. And that's really what I like to focus on, right? Not sort of rolling the dice and is it going to happen or not, is knowing with confidence the result will absolutely happen. Why? Because I've made a plan and I'm executing that plan. Same thing with my family. That's a huge thing for me. It was a huge thing for me during 2020 and 2021. I think it was a huge thing for a lot of us when during the pandemic, we get to step back and look at and reflect on what is important to us, right? Shelly, you mentioned the values. What do you value most? Because when you hold that tight and when you think on that daily, you're going to start to move in that direction. So lean into what you value most. Again, family. One of the things that is important for me, and I love it and I live it, and I've lived it since my kids were born, is being able to have breakfast with the family, have lunch with the family, have dinner with the family, go to those school plays, take my kids to school or pick them up. Those are all things that I value more than money in a way, right? So I'm willing to forgo working 24/7 in order to have the time freedom to participate in those things. I also know the impact that it can have in their life. You know, words read to the child, time spent with the child. There's statistics on all of these things, and it's just a matter of where it fits in with your values and where you're at in your season of life. For me, that's not always going to be the case. The kids are going to turn into teenagers and they won't want to hang out with me at all. But hopefully I've done enough in the early stages to set them up for success. And it will change as I continue to recap on this every 6 months or so. Mental health is just as important as physical health, in my opinion. And we need to be pouring in ourselves, because if you're not at 100% both mentally and physically, you're not going to be able to perform at your best. That's like being an injured sports player. You know, when you're at the top of your game, wow, you know, it's like magic happens on the court, on the field, wherever you're at. But when you're not there, when you've got the injured reserve list, it just doesn't happen. Financial, again, where do you want to get to? I remember I had a mentor, and the suggestion that he had when planning for financial, and then as I studied in graduate school, got a master's in finance, I was going to be a financial planner for people. It's like, what life do you want? You know, when we were doing entrepreneurship, they say that the number one thing with starting any business is you can zero in on what your expenses will be. And then the goal of being successful is you have more coming in than you have going out. That's the basic rules of business. If you have more coming in than you have going out, it's going to be easy sailing. If you have less coming in than you have going out, the old saying is your excess becomes your downfall, right? So for finance, it's pretty much the same thing. For me, my goal, I want 150% coming in of what I have going out. It's a equation that can be applied to my life right now. Is that where I'm at right now? You know, I'm not there yet. Do I want to get there? Absolutely. And that's going to be dependent on my lifestyle. I have two variables that I can now adjust in that equation, right? I can get to it by maybe even being a little bit more frugal or increasing the amount of income that I have coming in, but the ratio is what I want to meet. So what is that going to be for you guys? Spiritual, you know, we all have different beliefs, and I'm not one to judge other people's beliefs, but you better know what you believe in is the big question. And if you don't, man, you know, the old saying that I always like is you better believe in something, otherwise you'll fall for anything, right? So where do you stand in that? And ask yourself that question, and don't let yourself get judged for that. Career, where are you at in the season of your career? Are you achieving what you wanted to set out to achieve? I talked to my wife the other day. You know, she said, oh, we were watching these plastic surgery shows on Netflix. She loves those things. And she says, oh, I should have been a plastic surgeon. And I'm like, do you want to go back to school? I mean, there's still time. And she's like, no, you know, the idea is maybe there, but the passion wasn't there, you know? So again, where do you want to be? And are you there yet? If you're not, what are you going to do to work towards it? Ultimately, that's the conversation right now when it boils down to planning. Personal, you know, what do you want? Not what do other people think you want? What do you want? What do you want for yourself? Are you giving yourself personal time? Are you doing the personal things that you enjoy? All of those things. Once we do this and we balance it out, man, this is awesome. The other thing is that I remember in the book we went through is, are you 10s in all of those areas? You might have a balanced wheel, but if you're a 1 or a 2, you're not going anywhere fast. If you have a larger wheel and you're maximizing what you can be, you're going to be going everywhere you want to go, and you'll have momentum to get there. And I think that's really powerful as well. So before I leave the wheel of life, any other questions, contributions, or anything on that? Because I think this is so critical. I've done it myself. I encourage you to do it for yourself. If you have questions about what you want to do, and Shelly, please contribute.
Can I say that the wheel of life too doesn't have to be specific to those different areas. You can add things to that wheel. You can take things away if you feel that, or maybe mesh two of them together if they seem more contributable to each other. The wheel of life is very personal to each person. I also say you don't have to do a 1 through 10. If you want to shade yours in different colors, make it red at the beginning and blue, and that's the color that you want to be. Or if you want to go 1 through 3, or but make it personal to yourself. And also make sure that you do an evaluation of your time. Time stealers are huge. So do a 1-week survey and track everything you do every day, all day for a week. Just see where your time is going, because time is so valuable. And if we're going to value what we do, we have to remember that each piece of that time that we give away is something that we're going to get back to. So make sure your time is valuable and make sure you see where your time is going. It's a huge, huge thing.
I love so much of that, Shelley, and I want to talk with you about some of that. I remember one of the first things I heard, and this goes back to the spokes. The spokes aren't necessarily equal from the standpoint of, I remember it like juggling balls. Let's say I'm juggling 7 balls, but I have to realize some of the balls that I'm juggling are made of glass, and some of the balls are like bouncy balls. You know what I mean? So if you're going to be dropping or slipping on certain areas, remember what areas are recoverable versus what areas, if you drop them, they will break. Again, I'm thinking things like my family or my faith, you know, things that I want to pour in that I don't want to shy away from. Whereas other things like maybe my career or my finances, they got ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. We've all experienced that type of thing. But I think that's very powerful. And then the other thing that you brought up is time. And man, time is an amazing thing, but it's also this thing that we all look at when we say, you know, I've got all the time in the world. We think about it as this abundant resource instead of this finite resource. And I want to talk to people just for a second on how finite we feel time is when you look at it from the bigger perspective. And I only learned about this when I was studying finance, and you start to look at things in the terms of decades, you know, or you hear about like, oh, this country or this government has a 100-year plan. Well, what does life look like when you look at it from a 100-year plan, you know, or from a decade plan? In finance and investment, you're talking like retirement planning. What are you going to do over the next 40 years to have enough stocked away so that you can retire in the lifestyle you want? You know, those are all types of things where we start thinking about time from a different perspective. And one of the things that I don't know if it's like one of those, you know, life experiences where you almost lose your life, you know what I mean? And then you start to reflect on how valuable it is. I think a lot of people learned that during COVID. Maybe they lost loved ones or had friends who lost loved ones or experienced some of that themselves. And you start to reevaluate things. And I always keep in the back of my mind, and it's a little bit morbid, but you know, all we get is a dash between 2 dates when you think about it. Like take a step back, self-reflect for a minute. All you get is a dash between 2 dates. So what are we doing with our dash? You know what I mean? Because it's being drawn right now, and you're at some point along that line. And here's the reality. You get to do whatever you want to do with your time if you're willing to use it wisely. And some of you may not be in a 100% time freedom, right? Like some of your time has already been sold to somebody else and you've committed it. But again, 86,400 seconds in the day, you've got time if you're willing to make sacrifices. And Shelley, the third thing you brought up that I really want to highlight, it's not just your to-do list if you work in that mode, it's your not to-do list. And there are all these time suckers and time robbers and time things that we prioritize our time. We don't really manage it, but we're prioritizing those things above doing the things that we need to do in order to get to where we're going. And I think that's super valuable to start thinking in terms of that, because again, it's not just, hey guys, my New Year's resolution is to lose 10 pounds. Again, it's all of those approaches that go along with it and why you're going to be willing to put in the work or the time action necessary to make forward progress towards that goal. And again, you know, it could be, I need to lose 100 pounds. Guys, I've lost over 100 pounds, right? You don't sit there and say, I got to lose 100 pounds by tomorrow. You start sitting there going, hey, look, if I can lose 3 pounds a month, you know what I mean? I'm going to lose 100 pounds in 2 years. And you have to be willing to delay that instant gratification that we all want to lean into for running the process. But I'll tell you what, once you start spot checking that data and looking in along the progress along the way, you'll start validating your results sooner than you realize. But understand the trap, and Guy gave me the note to say it's called the valley of disappointment, right? We're all thinking linear, but the progress seems slow at start and speeds up over time. It's more parabolic. And so this valley of, while we're not making progress, but we are, but it's slow, that gap between what we think we're going to achieve and what actually happens on a scale is the valley of disappointment. If we know we're going to encounter it, we can prepare to overcome it. Guys, this is why we make a plan, right? This is why we look at a map when we go on a road trip. Hey, we've got a bridge here. We've got a tunnel here. Oh my gosh, there's construction over here and we're going to have to slow down. Where are we going to fill up on gas along the way? What about getting meals? All of that is part of a plan. And when you know that plan, you can adjust and course correct along the way, and you can spot check the progress you made. Oh, it's a 1,200-mile journey. We're only 100 miles there, guys, you know? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, but we will be there, and we're making forward progress because we're already 200 miles from home where we started. That's the mentality. And then it's, what am I time blocking or prioritizing in that plan of actions that I need to do in order to get to where I'm going? And really what that leads us to here, guys, this is my time blocking sort of method of operation, daily moo, right? What am I going to do each and every day? And what am I going to be consistent on? And here's the reality. Some things are every day, right? I eat breakfast every day, guys. It's an everyday thing, and I can have a process and a system for how I eat breakfast. And I'll tell you what, I have a process and a system for how I eat breakfast. It may not be what you want to have for breakfast, but if you do that for yourself, you'll be consistent on it. You know what I mean? And again, it's for everything. Some things don't happen every day of the week. Some things happen once a week. Again, do you have those things down? Are you prioritizing those things? I'm going to start what I call a coach swim, right? So I'm going to go swimming. I need a low impact sport or activity that I can do, whether I'm 40 or whether I'm 80. And so I'm starting Coach Swim. It's 2 days a week. I have to make a time commitment from 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. to go participate in Coach Swim. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays during that time, I can't do anything else because I've committed to doing those two things. And I know that if I do those two things over time, I'm going to be closer to being in better shape or more fit or where I want to be than where I am right now, not doing it at all. You know, and it's the same thing. It could be walking around the block one time. It doesn't have to be go run a marathon. If you're at that level to go run a marathon and that's what challenges you, then that's what you set. But if I haven't gotten up off the couch in 5 years, the first step is get up off the couch. You know what I mean? And then you can sit back down. Hooray, you've made a milestone. The next one is get it up off the couch and sit back down again and do it 2 days, 3 days, 5 days in a row. And that's what comes back to that small incremental progress, but being consistent over time builds to that forward progress. Shelly, yeah, go ahead.
Income producing activities.
100%.
So every day, income producing activities.
Think about this. So often, and I forget what the study is or what the principle is, but it's if we have time, we will fill it with work to do. Okay, but we won't necessarily fill it with revenue generating activities. It's work for work's sake. And we hear the term, you know, you got to work smarter, not harder. Think about what are the needle movers for you on the things in your plan to achieve what you need to achieve. I'll tell you what the two needle movers are for physical activity or for physical fitness. It's having some physical activity and it's eating the right things. Those two things alone will be the biggest contributors in making forward progress for that element. For family, for me, it's time. It's allocating time to do things together. For me, that's what family means. What does it mean for you? Same thing with mentally, right? If I do meditation or yoga or reflection or gratitude, I don't just block out that I do that once a month. It becomes a daily practice that I do each and every day, you know? So again, what are you doing that's going to be part of your time block daily once, twice, 3 times a week, once a month, or even on your review, Danon, once every 6 months. There's a time you can block in for doing those things and then commit to doing those things consistently over time before you decide to stop doing them. Measure and see if it's helping you make forward progress. If you have incremental progress, then you can be guaranteed that if you continue on, the incremental progress will continue. You may measure and say, you know what, this mile walk that I've committed to doing every morning when I get up, I go walk for a mile, may turn into a 2-mile walk, may turn into a jog at some point, may turn into increasing the incline on the, treadmill. So again, it's what are you doing? Where are you going? What are you measuring? And then are you spot checking along the way to course correct? Then I'm just looking at each section and making sure I'm doing incremental progress for everything. Part of my spirituality might be sitting there and reading scripture once a day, or it might be packed in on Sunday, or, again, whatever your beliefs are. So there's something you can find in every element of the wheel of life to basically apply in a daily basis. And that's the ultimate goal, is to break the big goal down into a process or path to achieve it, and get that all the way down to daily activities and time blocks in order to achieve that result, and then periodically measuring and holding ourselves accountable in that, knowing that there are certain traps that we want to avoid so that we can stick with it over the long term. Because that's the other thing, is if you don't stick with it, it will never happen. But if you overcome the obstacles and stick with it, you can get to where you're going. Danon, go ahead.
Okay, one of them was, I guess one of the wheels, the spokes is health.
Yep.
And you said your health, you was looking forward to getting a 6-pack again.
Yeah, that's my goal.
Right. No, I'm just trying to see I'm trying to see how to visualize my wheel of life and how to pattern it after.
Okay. And here's another thing, Danon, when it comes to setting goals, and this is an important one because a lot of the time we focus on what's called the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And those are really our dreams. What is the ultimate thing that we're shooting for, okay? And where you are right now versus that ultimate dream may be a giant leap forward, okay? And when you look at that, you have to say, is this something that I am highly confident that I can achieve in a specific amount of time? And if it's not, keep that as your direction, like your Northern Star, but break it down into something that's smaller so that you can say, yes, I feel confident that I can achieve that. Why? I know where I'm at, I know how to get there, and I know what it's going to take and the time it will take. And I can measure that and spot check it. Do you see where I'm coming from? So even if your ultimate goal is to lose 100 pounds, and it's going to take you 2 years to get there based on your estimate, then set that. Yeah, set that and say, okay, then I need to lose 50 pounds this year. And then set that and say, I need 50 pounds. I'm not going to be able to do that this month, So what is that going to look like on a monthly basis? And by the time you get done, maybe it's less than 5 pounds a month. Okay, now what could I be doing to lose 5 pounds a month? And do I feel confident, meaning a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 confidence level to achieve that? If you can't look at those goals and say, I feel a 10 out of 10, and when I break it down, I'm really looking at the daily habit. If I don't feel 100% confident that I can stick with the daily habit, I will not perform the daily habit. But if I do, then I will build momentum by checking that off every single day. That's why I said, I could probably lose weight and get a 6-pack faster if I started running 5 miles a day, right? I mean, shoot, it's going to have some impact. And in fact, when I lost a lot of weight, there was a lot of heavy and intensive, high intensity interval training and, very diligent dieting. And it wasn't very fun, but I hit my number. And then when I hit my number, it's sort of, what's next? Here it became, what is the habit? Oh, no, I might not be able, I'm a 2 out of 10 on running 5 miles a day, but I'm a 10 out of 10 on walking a mile every day for the next 365 days. Both are going to be activity that will lead me to better health. One, I think I'll be able to measure and stick with consistently forever or until I adjust it. But then it becomes like, oh, wow, you know what? One a day is too little. Now what do I want to do? You see? But I'd rather be turning up the dial than cranking the dial all the way up at time 0, trying to dive into that as a massive change in my life and churning out of it in the first 2 weeks of the year, like what will happen with 85% of people who are sitting here right now, you know, doing their planning for 2022, setting those New Year's resolutions. You can go on Google right now and say how many people succeed in New Year's resolutions, and the statistics will come up. But for the people who do achieve those, what is the difference? And that goes back down to all of the stuff holistically we've been talking about right now, right? The desire, the why, the hope, the plan, the execution, the measurement, the spot checking, the accountability. Again, all come together. Shelly.
Okay. I had a
Damon, let me grab Shelly real quick. I think she had something to add, and then we'll get back to you for another question.
Just quickly, when I've done a goal board, which has been every year for the past 5 or 6 years now, every single year, everything on that goal board happens to come true because it's above my bed. It's something I see every day, and I'm like constantly looking at it and physically working on it in my mind. I don't even have to be physically working, but just my mind is just going. And so it just seems to, each one of them seem to manifest, and over time they just work out. And by the end of the year, everything's done.
And there's some important elements of what you just said, Shelly, that I want to call out. The first is visualization. Okay. What is in your mind's eye? Yes, I know there's a certain fraction of people, maybe 10 or 15% of the population, that doesn't have the ability to visualize things in their mind. But if you're not one of those people, if you can visualize, if I say the word pink elephant and in your mind you see a pink elephant, you've got this skill set, guys. And then you can sort of work with that skill set to say, well, where do I want to go? Again, I had a mentor, and one of the things he would ask is, you know, ER, when you think of the perfect Saturday, what does that look like to you? You know, when we were thinking about financial advising, it's, you know, in retirement, what's the perfect day in the life of your retirement? You know, what does that want to be like or look like? You know, and it's going to be different for each of us. For me, I'm a minimalist. Okay. I don't want a bunch of stuff. I want a bunch of time freedom and location freedom. Yes, I want financial freedom, and I want that for everybody else. But the time freedom and location freedom are more important to me. So you're thinking about visually, and then in your visualization in your mind's eye, it's not just, I want 6-pack. You know what I mean? Yes, that's the easy thing to write down. It's like, what does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? You know, all of these sort of senses in your visualization. You know, if you want your dream car, Danon, and that's your goal on the financial side, what color is it? What wheels does it have? How fast does it go? What's the first road you're going to drive on when you get it? Those types of things. Then it becomes crystal clear. And to Shelly's point, even having a visual board, these are tools that we can leverage that remind us on a daily basis. It pours into us every day, because if we don't focus on refilling on a daily basis and pouring in on these things, we're going to lose sight of those things and we'll stop working towards them. But if we remind ourselves, and I'm going to go back to that first time I felt very successful winning a state championship, that's exactly it. We reminded ourselves every single day that the work we were putting in that day was leading us to something greater. And it was the sum of all of those daily parts and weekly parts and monthly parts that would sum up and aggregate together to getting where we wanted to go. And once I learned how to apply that in that, I could apply it to any other area or thing that I wanted to work on and improve on. And then when I learned about the Wheel of Life, I saw how that skill set and that system and that process could be applied to every spoke, which creates the balance. And in my opinion, that's where the true joy comes out of, because you are balanced. You're not missing out on any of those other things. So daily pouring into yourself, I think, is so key. If that means you have to put a vision board up, put a vision board up. If it means you write your goals, I've done this before. I write my goals on my mirror, and in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth and I review my goals from all areas, right? This is what I want to be doing. And a lot of it's just reminding me the daily activity, that 1 or 2 or 3 items I just need to check off the list consistently. And then I'll also look in the mirror and I'll say, do I like the person that I see right now? Is this where I want to be? And if I say yes to that, then I just have to keep doing what I'm doing. And if I say no to that, I have to realize that I can make choices and decisions today in the gift that is the present that will change the outcome of tomorrow. And once I understood that little trick, I was able to change the outcome of where I was going on anything I wanted to work on, whether it was business, finance, family, future, whatever, physical, mental, all of that stuff. Go ahead, Danon.
Okay, and on the money, you said you want to have more money coming in. Is it a spoke called money? Or what
It's
is this?
finance. There's a spoke called finance. There's another spoke called career. We could sit here and talk about the differences between both of them. I think there is some overlap there, but under the finance side for me, okay, I basically said my goal, personal goal, is to have 150% coming in of what I have going out. I will give you an example of that, okay? Let's say I need $10,000 a month to live the life that I want to live, right? And I've checked off everything. That's the mortgage, that's the auto payment, that's the kids doing activities, that's the eating out, that's whatever it is that you lay out that you want from a lifestyle perspective. And we talk about life by design all the time. This is really what that means. What life do you want to live? If you can map that out and visualize it, you can set an absolute cost to that. That's like starting any business. What are your expenses going to be? If you know what the expenses are, maybe it's $10,000 a month, maybe it's $5,000 a month. I've met people whose expenses were $100,000 a month. So it is scalable, but whatever that is, if my goal is to have 150% of that coming in, then if my expenses are 10 grand, I need 15 coming in, and that sets that number. If I decide I want to scale my lifestyle up, maybe it goes to $15,000 or $20,000 a month, or I want to scale it down and I say, you know what? I'm going to be weird, like Dave Ramsey says, and it's going to be the year of red beans and rice, you know, then I maybe scale that back down to $5,000 a month, you know, or whatever the bare minimum is. Then I know, hey, this is what I need to get to have 150% of that. Why am I doing that financially? Because I want excess to contribute towards the future, to contribute towards investments, to contribute towards charity, to contribute towards social good, to contribute towards even elevating that lifestyle if we choose to do so. But it becomes giving me a choice or options. Here's what I typically see when it comes with finances, and this is a fatal flaw or a trap I see people all too often fall into. They raise their expenses at the same rate they raise their income. Right? I've seen people come with this big windfall, like they started a new business, the business scaled up dramatically, they're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, and then all of a sudden they're living $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. The example I mentioned, my friend who was making $100,000 a month, you know, he was spending 110. And then he'd come up to you and say, hey, can I borrow some money? I'm a little bit short this month. And a part of me wanted to say, hey, you need to stop chartering planes and you need to sell one of your houses and you need to do some of this type of stuff because you're living above your means. And that's the trap we get into. And the fatal flaw is when that turns off and inevitably things will happen that are outside of our control. That's the reality of life. They're outside of our control. So we'll beat ourselves up because we think it's our fault, but it's outside of our control, can disrupt that whole plan. Well, if I know it's going to ebb and flow and I have that ratio set in place, then I can say, look, you know what? Income's going down this month by whatever. I need to lower my expenses this month. Or, hey guys, income is going up. Do we want to raise our expenses this month? Or do we want to put 60% away or 70% away? Ultimately, my ultimate long-term goal, like if I was throwing the dart at the moon, I would want to live on 1% of what I make. Am I a 10 on 10 confidence in that? Absolutely not. But in my mind, if I can achieve that goal in my lifetime, right, decades, that I can be at a point where I'm able to contribute and do more good than I'm personally consuming. And that's a personal choice. Look, if your goal is to become a billionaire, then you can set your sights on that and work towards that. That's the reality of how the system works. But if that's not your goal, maybe it's just to pay all of the bills every month and have a little bit left over to pay yourself first. then set that as a goal, you know?
Okay, and your next one was personal. I don't.
So if Danon didn't have to worry about any outside influences, right? Like if I didn't have to worry about my wife or my kids or any other obligation, it was just me. And I got to make the choice of what to do with my time and what to spend it on. Personally, what do I want, right? Because so often we do a lot of things for other people, at least that's my world. Again, I'm focused on doing more other-centered. So what can I do to help you? You know, I spend a lot of time helping people. I'll spend an hour with somebody who I've made 20 bucks off of. Trust me, my time is worth more than $20 an hour. So when I have time to have for myself, what do I want? You know what I mean? Are there things that you like? Are there things that you want? Maybe it's materialistic, maybe it's time, maybe it's location, maybe it's a vacation, maybe it's doing this hobby that you've been passionate about. Those are the things that come under the personal.
Okay, spiritual. Well, let's get spiritual and go to family.
Yep. So again, when you think family, what are you thinking about? You know, maybe it's my wife and my kids. That's what I think, immediate family. Then I start thinking extended family. You know, my mother and father, my kids' grandparents, my in-laws, my sister and my niece and nephew. I start extending out. But here's the reality. You guys are just as much family as other aspects of family. So I have to consider a lot of those things when I'm thinking about family and what time I want to contribute, because ultimately, to what Shelley said earlier, we're really just prioritizing our time. And so if somebody requests from this online family or from this LFI family a meeting, but the meeting's going to be happening at dinner, I'm going to suggest an alternate time. You know what I mean? But if I've got time available, then I will commit time to this family. Again, I'm thinking in terms of what do you consider family? You know, you may not be married, you may not have kids, you may not have parents, you may not have brothers and sisters. What do you have that you consider family? In some cases, some of my best friends I consider family. So it's spending time with them. Am I making time available to spend with them? Because there have been seasons of my life where I sort of pushed everybody aside while I focused on other things. And some of those were glass balls and some of them were balls that bounced back. And I truly regret the glass balls that I dropped. So when you're thinking family, Danon, what is that to you? You know, and what is that to any of us? Sit down there and focus on yourself, because my definition of it is going to be different than yours.
Right, but you're saying the time spent with family, right?
Yeah, for me, that's the number one thing. When I think of family, I think of time together, right? I think of the vacations I grew up taking with my family. I think of those moments in time. I also think of, there was another study, I think they talked to 100 people who were in hospice care on their deathbed. And I'll tell you what, 100% of them didn't say, man, I wish I'd spent more time working. You know, they said, oh man, I wish I would have gone to Johnny's soccer game or participated in that event with my family or done this with my friends or whatnot. That's what I think about. So it's time for me, it's time spent, right? That's time in my mind is gold. Money and time are mutually exclusive in my mind. A lot of people have them tied together, right? I got to spend my time to make my money. No, you can separate them. And then time becomes this ultimate resource that you don't want to waste.
Okay, so availability could go up under the family. Your available time spent with family.
Absolutely, and how I prioritize stuff. You know, in fact, sometimes I will prioritize my family over my physical health. Maybe I'm not going to go for a walk this morning because I'm making pancakes for the kids. You know what I mean? And I'll still want to check that health thing off the list, but I'm reprioritizing things in that instance. I'll still get it done today, but maybe I'm going to do it this afternoon when I traditionally knock it out first thing because it's the highest priority for me.
Okay, career, you said career and money might be similar.
Some overlap, right? There's a lot of us out there who still trade dollars for hours, okay? Maybe that's you. Maybe your career is based on how much time you spend focusing on certain objectives that result in the income that you make. For other people, finance starts to get separated from career. I'm a big person who believes in multiple streams of income. Okay, There are some incomes that I have that are completely passive. I don't put any time, and it's not part of my career, but it's part of those financial goals or objectives, right? Other businesses I might be working on or working in, right? Other investments that I might have in different things. I monitor those things and I block out time to spot check them. You know what I mean? I don't want the market to get wiped out and I'm the last to sell type of thing. But also I don't make it my career focused on my finances.
Okay.
Whereas, again, for some of us, we have a career and we have specific goals. Maybe you've always wanted to be a nurse and your goal is to be a nurse in a specific care unit at a specific hospital. You can work on progressing your career in that direction. Or maybe you are a landscaper, but you've always dreamed of having a career as a pilot. You know what I mean? You can set that goal for yourself and you can say, there's a lot of steps I need to take care of along the way if I'm going to move from here to there, but it's part of a career. My career is all about helping others. Again, you should be thinking about this, right? And I get everything out of life by helping enough people get what they want. And that's rang true for me for the last 2 decades. So I will just pour into others, but it's disassociated from the finances. Again, I'll spend an hour with somebody I made 20 bucks off of. Why? Because I'm pouring in as part of my career of helping others get to where they want to go. Some people will get to where they want to go by leveraging LFI. We're going to be talking about that briefly here in a second. Other people will focus on a career or a business or a venture that is different from that. But maybe my goal is they'll use LFI as a tool to support that progress in that area. But that's why I would differentiate career and finance, Dana.
Okay, so both of those are on the wheel, right? Career and finance.
Yep. So we talked about personal, physical, family, career, finance. The other two, and again, to Shelley's point, you could do different spokes for business. You could do different spokes for life. You can add or subtract. The other two that are on here are spiritual and mental. And I would say at points, some of that overlaps as well. Why? A lot of it is belief, right? What do you believe in? One thing
That's
I
spiritual.
like, yeah, spiritual, and the same thing. Do you believe in yourself? You know, because that's part of your mental health. You know, do you have the confidence to know that right now you are in a position to get to where you're going and you have the choice to go in that direction, independent of where you might have been or what might have happened to you? You know, you can't choose what happens to you, as the saying goes, but you can choose how you react to it. And I think that's a distinction, whether you're talking about your mental health and how you think about things and having all of that confidence and the wherewithal and the grit to stick along with the plan that you've set out, even when you see other shiny objects. And the same thing on the spiritual side. That's more the greater belief, the humanity of things, right? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in id? You know, do you believe in anything? And whatever you believe in, why do you believe in it? You know, and how are you building that belief?
Okay, what was you saying about the mental? I thought you were talking about the spiritual at first.
I was sort of going back and forth because I do believe there's just a little bit of overlap in there. Okay, because one can feed into the other and equally they can pour into each other. From a mental standpoint, again, there's a lot of things, right? I mentioned at the beginning, physical health and mental health, I think, go hand in hand. So if you're sitting there saying like, oh man, I need to lose 100 pounds, you know what I mean? Ask yourself, is that vanity? Or is that the goal because the goal is to be physically fit or physically active or achieve something? When I think about physical fitness and why I want a six-pack, yeah, it'd be great to have a six-pack. But the other thing is, it'd be great to feel like I'm in shape and I can play with my kids, keep up with my kids. You know what I mean? Throw my kids around and lift them up in the air, etc. And part of that is being in good health, and a measurement of good health is having a six-pack. I know I can't be in horrible health and have a six-pack, you know what I mean? But I can be in horrible health and not be able to lift my kids up and keep up with my kids and do all of that type of stuff. The same thing mentally. If I'm not in a mind frame to focus and put in the work that is going to be required to execute my plan, that will hinder me and hold me back. How am I pouring into myself mentally each and every day? Am I doing personal development? That's something I work on all the time. I listen to a lot of books. I'm a big fan of audio learning. In fact, last night I re-listened to Born to Win, probably for the dozenth time. And you know, for me, again, it's a mental thing, right? It pours back into me. It reminds me of certain things. I pick up a little bit of gold every time I do it. And I've got a whole reading list of things that are books or inspirational quotes or gurus who are trainers that I want to constantly be feeding into myself so that I can improve. And again, what are you doing mentally to improve yourself? Other things, it might be dealing with stress or trauma that you might have had in your life that might be holding you back from where you're going. Don't be afraid to address that stuff. I feel like there's such a stigma around mental health versus physical health. And yet we see in the news how big mental health plays a role in people's actions. If that's true, then it would play a role in our own actions in getting us or holding us back from where we want to go. And if this is going to be a holistic approach of going from where you are now to where you want to get to, you better play that factor in. Otherwise, you're missing an opportunity. And that might be the element that holds you back a little or a lot. It could be things like giving gratitude. For me, on the mental side, every day, what am I grateful for? Because when I stop waking up and saying, man, I've got the best life ever. I get to spend an hour with you guys today. Then I'm going to go have lunch with my family. Then I'm going to come up and chip away at a few items. Then I'm going to go for a walk. Like I got to feel blessed for all of that. And if I'm not grateful for that, and in fact, I'm upset because I'm still not to that, end goal, that's the wrong mind frame to have. That's going to lead to, why do I feel disappointed? Why do I not want to put in the work today? Why do I feel like maybe the victim or something like that? Address that stuff, work through that stuff. Everybody's going to have their own personal journey. It could be meditation. I've done a ton of meditating. It's an amazing process if you implement it. If you've never done it before, you can pour in online and learn how to do it. There's tons of apps out there and tools out there that can help you. And sometimes just resetting for 10, 20, 30 minutes, again, it's like resetting. You know what I mean? Getting clarity, thinking about things. Sometimes we're so go, 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 we never take a step back to just reflect and think. And that, Danon, is the time maybe where I'm spot checking internally too. Am I making forward progress? Am I doing these commitments? Am I living the values that I've set out for myself? Am I grateful for what I have and the people that I'm helping for? And I want to be measuring myself against that and working on that. And it's constant work on all of this, guys. Like, it's not like I do the work one time and it's done. It's a daily practice. And I remember a quote I had heard, and I don't know if it was in a book called Man's Search for Meaning or something else, but the quote was like, the author was talking about yoga. And she says, I love the idea of yoga. I love the idea so much. I bought the mat, I bought the pants, I wear the pants around when I go shopping. Like, I got the lifestyle that is the yoga life, but I don't practice yoga. And I think that's the difference between liking the idea of something and putting it in on a daily practice. The results come from putting it in on a daily practice. You can put yoga pants on every day and wear that as your uniform. But if you don't practice yoga, you won't get the benefits of it. You know what I mean? And I think so often we buy into that idea of something, but we don't practice it. And we get up and we tell others like, oh yeah, this is so great. But if they turned and asked us, do we practice that or do we do that on a daily basis and are we consistent with it? Sometimes we might say no, or hope we don't get asked. Instead, the challenge for ourselves is to put it in as a daily practice on every area. So.
Okay, I got all that. I thank you.
Yeah, no, I love it because again, I want you to be as successful as you want to be in every area of the wheel of life. And my goal is to show you that there is a process and a system. I've implemented it myself and I've gotten pretty much everything I've ever wanted out of life, and I'm making forward progress towards the things that I'm working on that I haven't gotten. And I know that it is a repeatable process for anybody who wants to implement it. And I have to repeat that. It is a repeatable process for anyone level playing field. I don't care where you're at, where you come from, what has happened to you in the past, because we are kindred spirits. I've been through a massive amount that I have never shared, you know what I mean? And someday maybe I'll share it as inspiration to you guys that it's possible. But if you implement it now, you'll start making forward progress. And as my friend Michael Ray likes to say, you know, go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you're going to see a little bit further. Set that challenge up for yourself and start chipping away. And you're going to say, wow, you know, I've made forward progress. My wife sends me these little time hop pictures. It's like your camera's way of saying, here's what you did some time ago. And she just sent me this one the other day. And it was us in a trip we did in Las Vegas 10 years ago. But the thing that it reminded me of is that's the time when we stopped eating meat. And I couldn't believe, in hindsight, because I hadn't thought about it in a while. It's just become a natural habit that I've stuck with for 10 years. When you do something daily for 10 years, guess what? It's just a lifestyle, right? I look back and I go, oh my God, I wrote her back on the picture. I go, I remember that's when we stopped eating chicken. And that was the last, thing. We haven't done it since. It's been 10 years. Oh my gosh, that went by so fast. And it didn't feel like an effort. It maybe felt like an effort the first month. I was a big meat eater. You know what I mean? My wife hasn't eaten meat since junior high. So to implement that in my own process, but over time, I don't even remember what it was like, you know?
Okay, you mentioned two things that we should do as far as, one of them was time blocking, and what was the other?
Yeah, so let's go through this really quick, right? We've got our visions and our desires we talked about. Those are generated through the wheel of life. That's your what and your why on why you're going to implement this thing and why you're going to stick with it. Because trust me, it's going to get hard along the way and you're going to want to quit. But if you stick with it and are consistent, you'll do it. So that's all going to be about setting the reasonable goals and creating the system and the process that are the steps that lead you towards that goal. That leads to your daily method of operation. I don't have to worry about the year-long goal. I have to worry about what I'm doing today and this week. And then forget about the rest. You'll get overwhelmed with the rest. So daily method of operation, what am I going to be relentlessly consistent on? You want to will, skill, and refill daily, to Shelly's point, whether that's having a vision board, writing things on the mirror, looking at your plan every single day, consistently pouring into yourself. Will, why are you doing it? What is the desire? What is the why? And the skill, am I developing myself and having the right tools and skills to implement my plan? And the refill, am I doing that consistently on a daily basis? The balance, right? All of this works together. Yes, guys, I've been it where, again, physical, lost 100 pounds, but I sacrificed a lot of other stuff. In hindsight, I would have rather done it in a more balanced approach. Then that is your small daily challenges. Okay, Danon, what can I do every day that I know I can do every day? If it's, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. because I need extra time to get the stuff done, the question is, can you do that every day? If your answer is no or not a 10 out of 10, guess what? You're not going to get up at 5 a.m. every day. Instead, maybe you stay up an extra hour. I'm not going to bed at 10, I'm going to bed at 11. You know what I mean? Again, where are you going to find the time or block the time? And it's got to be based on the priorities of the actions that you need to get done. So on this wheel of life, if you wrote down 3 actions for every spoke that you could do daily, then take all of those, 3 times 7 is 21 items, and prioritize it. Again, the 3 is just an example, but prioritize it. And then my recommendation is get rid of the big thing first. If you're time blocking, what is the thing that you least want to do? Because we only have so much willpower. You know what I mean? And you're going to use your willpower in making choices and decisions throughout the day. And if you want to make forward progress, and part of it is like, man, I know I can walk a mile, but only if I do it first thing in the morning. If I wait till the end of the day, it's a 50-50 shot whether I'm going to make it in or not. You know what I mean? If I know that about myself, then number 1 priority is get the physical activity out. Or maybe it's picking up the phone. I know as part of my finance in my career that I need to outreach people, follow up with people, refer people, etc., network with people. I need to pick up the phone or send the email or go to that event. And that's the top priority. Then maybe your follow-ups is the first thing you do every single day. If spirituality is the thing that you're really working on, and that's the top priority because it seems like it's the biggest needle to move for you, and you need to pour into yourself on a daily basis, maybe that's the first thing you do every morning. You know, again, it's going to be up to you, but I would prioritize those things and start checking them out. But make sure every item you prioritize is a 10 out of 10 confidence that you'll get it done.
Okay, you said the will was what? And the skill? Because I had put them all on the same line. I wasn't able to write.
You're good. Will, skill, and refill.
I got
Okay,
that.
the will is your vision, your will, your desire, where you want to go. The skill is the tools and the skills to get there. And the refill is the daily repetition of reminding yourself about those actions that will take you to where you're going. Because you can make, guys, here's the reality. We can all sit here and make a perfect plan. We could break it down. We could block out the time. Here's my perfect plan for myself. And here's the plan that I want to talk to all of you about in closing, which is how do you get to $1,000 per month residually as an LFI affiliate? If I was to set a big milestone for anybody that I know and am confident they could accomplish if they go through a simple process, that would be it. And I will talk to you why. But even if we have these things, we still have to execute on them. And I think that's the most critical component. I talked about the 4-letter word, work. If we're willing to put in the hard work, everything will be easy. If we're not willing to put in the hard work, we can look at this a year from now and wonder why we never got started. Shelly, go ahead.
And along the way, we have to be kind to ourselves and not be so hard on ourselves too, because that will stop us in our tracks every time. I learned that about myself. You have to like go back into your mind and say, no, I'm not wrong. The people are, everybody deserves a break and I'm just a human. And you have to kind of keep reminding yourself of that, because that will help inspire you to keep going too. The kinder you are to yourself, like just be as kind as you would be to one of your best friends. Be that to yourself.
So true, Shelly. I can't reiterate it enough, guys. This is a fatal flaw that I have personally. I'll make a confession. I grew up as a perfectionist, okay? I grew up wanting to do everything perfect. And if it wasn't executed perfectly, even if it was done and it yielded the same result, I would pick out the one thing that was wrong and then focus on beating myself up about that. I had to overcome that because I realized it's not about perfection. It's about progress, guys. And it's about getting and being able to do it every day. And I'm not going to do it perfectly every day. There's going to be days that I'm going to have an off day, all of those things. And I'm going to put in the tools to help carry me along throughout that process. But to Shelly's point, I have to be willing to accept that about myself, because the typical trap that perfectionists have is I start going, I've got my perfect streak going, and then I have that one day where chaos happens outside of my control. Sometimes 2 or 3 fires creep up or whatnot, and it throws me off my game. And instead of pivoting and course correcting and getting back in the saddle, I let that be my excuse to say, now I got to wait till next year to start all over again so I can do it perfectly the first time around. And the reality is that doesn't work, and it never works. So if you can understand that and overcome that, then the true reality of it, and to Shelly, your point, having a little bit of grace, it's about progress, not perfection. If we go down and I think about the wheel of life and what I want to adjust every 6 months to check on, I'll do quarterly and monthly. And what I get to the point of doing is it's a loop that you go through on a daily basis, where at the beginning of it starts the night before for me. I'm preparing for the day ahead by reviewing my game plan for that day the night before. Then I'll review it again in the morning because something might have changed. We do a lot of international stuff. Did something happen overnight while I was sleeping for 8 hours that I missed and I need to adjust for? And if it didn't, then I'm going to execute my plan. And this is going to be my weekly plan for the next 52 weeks. You should have one of these for yourself. And I'm going to go through it every day. Monday or Sunday night, I'm looking at Monday. Monday night, I'm looking at Tuesday. Tuesday night, I'm looking at Wednesday. I'll go through running my whole plan. Okay. At the end of the day, I do what's called a retrospective. It takes me 5 minutes. Part of when I give my gratitude. What are the things that were great today? where were the failing points? Were there things outside of my control? And am I willing to accept that they were outside of my control? How can I make a change or an improvement and learn from today? And the last thing I sort of close out every day with personally doing, am I going to get a W for today? Did I win the day? That's the big question. If I look at all the things I wanted to accomplish, even if it was a task list with a bunch of meetings, and I'm striking through as many of those as possible, I will have a gauge of whether I felt like I won the day or not. And the reality is, even the people who win the Super Bowl don't win every game in the season, okay? But what they want to do is aggregate winning enough of those games that they make it to the Super Bowl. Guys, the same is true here in anything you want to accomplish, right? If I can win the day consistently, I may not win the next 7 days, but if I'm 4 out of 7, 5 out of 7, I got to give myself a little bit of grace. In fact, the first workout program I ever did that was very successful for me, it talked about I have to implement a cheat day. I was like, whoa, that's not perfect. If I could separate out all of those cheat days, I could get there faster. But the reality was I needed to insert that in because that was the grace that allowed me to go along. And there were days where I thought my cheat day was going to be a Saturday and it ended up being a Tuesday. And so I just had to remind myself that Saturday I didn't get to have one, but I was going to remain consistent. And if I win more days than I lose, so all I have to do is ask myself at the end of every day, did I win or lose today? I lost, okay, dust it off, as my coach would say, get up. And when tomorrow comes, it's a new day, and go and get at it and win that day. And if you get into that mind frame, you've got the next 365 days. And if you want all 365, you should have won every single goal and achieved everything you wanted to. But ask yourself this question: what happens if I would have only won half of the next 365 days? And would I be okay with the forward progress that I will make? Because the reality is, if you stick with that mental viewpoint, when you get there a month from now, 6 months from now, a quarter from now, 6 months from now, and you start spot checking, you're going to realize you're making forward progress. And that's the thing that continues to build momentum and motivation to continue down the path, even when you hit that one day where it feels like everything is an uphill battle. You're pushing water uphill with a rake. You know what I mean? It's just not happening for you. That's fine. It's going to happen. But be willing to restart the next day. Even if it means just saying, I can't do it today. I got to check out. I got to do some self-care. I got to do whatever and step away. The old saying in entrepreneurship is, it's okay to fire yourself every single day, even as long as you're willing to hire yourself the next morning. So again, that's the reset. That's why they call it the present, because each new day is a gift for us to restart and reset. So take an option to restart and reset, even if it's going to be doing the same thing you did yesterday. Okay, guys, I know we've been really long on our time. It's about 11:30. I want to sort of do one last thing. I want to talk to you about a game plan that I worked on. Again, this is part of my overall strategy of success in 2022 and what it means for us here at LFI. As that abundance mentality that I talked about earlier mentioned, I know that if we help you guys as affiliates get to where you want to go, we're going to get to where we want to go. And this is the mentality that we've had from day one. We always thought about our technology and tools can help so many people. But if we focus on just doing that on our own and only help ourselves, it's not going to have the impact that it could have. So the big thing for us is to allow anybody who uses our technology and likes it and wants to share it with somebody else to participate in the growth of our enterprise. And not just participate it based on their individual efforts, but collectively on the impact that they have in the enterprise. So I don't know any better way to sort of say that, but that's what allowed us to open up our affiliate program for everybody. Again, we've never spent $1 on marketing. We've spent hundreds of thousands, I think millions of dollars on commissions, if you will, okay? And again, selling a $10 or $20 product online, it blows my mind. I think about all the companies out there selling $100 or $1,000 products, and if we'd added a few zeros to our product cost, the amount of commission we would have helped people. And I'm keeping in the back of my mind that my ultimate goal is everybody in the world should be able to create an extra $500 a month if they truly wanted to. So we're going to talk about a plan that I went through with the goal of how do you create $1,000 a month coming in, and how can you reasonably do that in 1 year's time? So what does this mean? This means over the course of the next 365 days, the next 52 weeks, we're going to look at 1 week at a time and what we can do each and every day in that process to reach a goal, factoring in things like we're not going to do every day perfect, okay? But if we are consistent with this over the next 52 weeks, guess what? Even if you didn't make $1,000 by the end of 2022, but you made $500 a month, you're further along than you started right now. Ultimately, I know there will be people who surpass this because this is something that's achievable by anybody, irregardless of their sphere of influence, which I think was critical when we created the program. So I'm going to be talking about two things. The first thing I want to share, we're going to jump back over to our affiliate page of the website. You guys have all seen this before, okay? It should be nothing new to you. You know how the compensation plan works. You know what percentages you get. If anybody has a question on this, put it in the comments, raise your hand. We'll clarify all of that, but I'm not going to spend time going through that. What I am going to spend time is looking at the commission calculator. And if you've spent no time looking at the commission calculator, this is your call to action to get back on this page and to think about your specific scenario. Okay. Now, what I want to call out here is this is our discounted shuffle rate. That's a subscription that you're promoting of $20 a month. Okay. But I truly believe in 2022, our biggest gains are going to be a combination of your digital business cards, your tap cards, and networking and relationships, in addition to some marketing. So really, I want to lean in on networking and relationships because that's what a lot of drives a lot of business growth. So we're looking at our full shuffle subscription with your affiliate discount at $20 per month. If they end up adding on their one-time tap card purchase, that's fine. We're not factoring it on here. Here we've talked about above a focus on 40. So if we wanted to achieve that in a year's time, then let's focus on 4 in a month. 4 in a month means 1 in a week. Ask yourself right now, when you're talking about the financial side of your wheel of life, can I go out and refer 1 person a week? What is your confidence level in that? That would be 52 people in the course of a year, okay? I don't want to overwhelm anybody, and you can always come back into the referrals per month and adjust it higher or lower. But let's focus on 4 in a month. That's 1 in a week. That could be 4 in a week and you take 3 weeks off. Again, it's going to be up to what you want to do. In addition, we've got a few other variables to consider. That's month over month retention. This is saying that 1 out of 2 people that you refer is going to stay on as a customer. The other one will not. This is not going to assume that everybody that you refer is going to be a lifetime customer. And I know a lot of comp program overviews do that. Like, you're going to get a customer and they'll be your customer for life. I want that to be the case, but reality says some portion will churn out. So we've selected 50%. Again, I think with proper inviting, plugging people into resources and support, we're already seeing higher than 50% month over month retention. This is the other factor, network duplication. I've mentioned it before. You guys are in this business maybe for yourself, but you're not in this business by yourself. You've got a bunch of support resources, including the entire LFI community, and you have the ability to leverage a team of sub-referrers, inviters. They don't all have to be affiliates, but any of that volume that you can override. And we call that network duplication. But what we want to focus on to be successful is not passive customer referrals. We actually want active duplicators. So that's what you're going to talk about. In active duplication, this variable assumes that only 3 people out of the 10 people that you might put in are going to duplicate, okay? Not 10 out of 10, not 9 out of 10. We're talking about 30%. So every 3 people that I maybe find as a customer will become a duplicator. And what does duplication mean? They're going to go out and make 4 referrals a month. Okay, so now we're talking about how that leverage and the residual plays a role in building passive income over time. Any questions so far on this?
Yes.
Yeah, Damon, go ahead.
You said the network duplication, how many and what?
Yep, so we've got this variable, if you're looking at my screen, set to 30%. You can obviously adjust it down or up on this sliding scale, but what duplication means is who's going to go out and do the same thing that I've been coached to do. What system that you're following right now, and we're going to talk about, can 3 people out of every 10 people I find follow that same system? If so, then every time you get a duplicator, you're leveraging them in addition to your own efforts. And I come back and I say that quote all the time. It's a John Paul Getty quote. It's, I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of my own effort. What does that mean? He's saying instead of doing 100% of the work, I'd rather get paid 1% off of 100 people doing the same work, and it's equivalent to me doing all of the work. I like to paraphrase that or extend on that quote. I would much rather have 1% of the effort of 1,000 people, because I am limited. There's no way I can put in 1,000% effort. This is why leverage is so critical. I mentioned on, I think it was Tuesday's training, imagine if Jeff Bezos started Amazon. You can look this up. He's got a small office. Amazon is like spray painted in a banner on his back wall, and he's got a computer. Imagine if Jeff Bezos, from that day moving forward, when he started Amazon in the 90s, if he was the only one doing all of the work. It wouldn't exist. He had to leverage the efforts of other people in order to take Amazon where he wanted it to go. No different in your business. Yes, you have unlimited people that you can directly refer. By all means, go out and go as wide as you want, okay? But most people out there, they don't have a sphere of influence of millions of people. But I do know most people out there know 3, 4, 5, 10 people, or have access to groups or spheres of influence of people who they know could benefit from our technology. And that's really what it's about. So if I know everybody can go out there and reasonably, if they focus, get 4 people in a month on a $20 solution. If I was running a sales company, that's like telling my sales associate, you have to sell $80 this month in sales. I don't know a single company out there that sets the bar, in my opinion, so low. I was in a sales company when I was in college, like in between summer, and it was like $25,000 to $80,000 a month in volume that they were setting for us as goals. Here, this process works with this goal. Okay, you can extend it up, but it's 4 people per month. 3 out of every 10 are going to duplicate. So if you're doing 4 per month, Dane, and let's walk through that mental math. You got your first 4. There's a good chance some of them may not duplicate. You get your next 4. Okay, now you have 8. What's 30% of 8? By the time you've done 2.5 months, that means you've done 4, 4, and 2, you've got 10 people. And this is making the assumption that 3 of that group of 10 will start repeating the efforts. Does that make sense? And the key with any type of leverage is duplication. We want to show everybody that there is a path to follow, and I'm going to go through that path here in a second. I just wanted to show how these numbers work out in the commission calculator, okay? The last variable that you guys want to take a look at is time, okay? This is not get rich quick, but this is set your time frame for what you want to achieve. This looks at the next 12 months. Again, I'm going to challenge everybody to commit themselves to the next year, 2022. Okay, that might sound overwhelming, so spot check yourself 6 months in. In fact, spot check yourself first quarter of the year. So yes, mentally say, I'm going to do 2022 and I'm going to do it as hard as I can with the mindset of a champion, and I'm going to see if I can achieve this result. But before you get overwhelmed with the next 12 months, let's look at the next 90 days, okay? And then let's focus on 1 week at a time for the first month and go through there. And here's the reality. In this thing, over the next 12 months, the first few months, right? What is that? That's the valley of despair. Oh my gosh, I put in some effort, but I only made $8. Yeah, but that's $8 residually. That's like every month you get to reach in the couch cushion and pull out a $8 bill. Then by month 2, it's $20 a month. You know, now I've got 11 people. I brought in 4 more, got to 8. And then some of those people started to bring in people, right? I was at 8, 9, 10, 11. That means 3 other people came from my referral network. It continues to build. over time, again, I'm losing 50% of the previous month's new referrals, but 3 out of every 10 are starting to build the sub referral network below me. And you can see how that increases your income over time. And look, if you follow this plan and you're focusing on 4, again, if you're focusing on 8, you should achieve this much faster. But if you're focusing on 4, by 6 months, you got a nice dinner out with your spouse or your loved one, you know, coming in every month. You've got maybe what's starting to look like a car payment every month or the grocery bill for the week coming in. But the goal here is in 12 months, I'm making $1,100 a month. Okay. Now you can do things to impact change on that. Maybe you've set your wheel of life and your plan, and part of it is to not earn $1,000 a month in a year with LFI. Maybe it's to get to 2,000 or 3,000. My first thing is, if you're not at $1,000 a month yet, don't set your sight on anything higher. Wait till you hit that milestone. Once you get there, you're going to be able to see further. But if you set the goal so high, right? If we say, nope, I've got to go out and I've got to do 8 a month. Look, you can get to $50,000 a year if you just adjust how many you do. Why? Well, you're telling those 3 out of 10 people, they've got to go out and get 8 people a month as well. So you're raising the bar, not just for yourself, but for everybody who's setting out to follow the same path or system that you're working to follow. So if we move that back to 4, look, you can do more than that, right? If you've ever seen Office Space, this is the minimum amount of flair that you want to be wearing, right? This is the minimum amount of effort. Focus on 4. In 10 months, you'll hit the 40, and that's going to extend your leverage to 10 levels. And you'll be adding in passive income that you can see continues to grow. Look at the last. This is that parabolic growth curve. Once you get to a few $100 a month, everybody, and this is the reality, like set your goal on the first spot check. Can I get to a few $100 a month? Because once you've done that, it's all a matter of scale. Okay, so now we're pretty clear on how to use the commission calculator and what it can result in. If you get more than 3 people, Danon, maybe you're tapping into some entrepreneurial folks and you can get to 4 people out of 10 versus 3 people out of 10. Just 1 extra duplicator a month coming in. Look at that. That triples your long-term income, quadruples it almost. So again, all of these variables play a role, and they're all levers that you can impact, that you can personally be accountable for impacting and managing. It's not outside of your control. So play around with this. The last thing I'll call out, guys, and again, it's pretty easy to move just 1 dial down. You don't do any referrals and you don't get duplication for any referrals, you're not going to make any money. And some of you may be only making 12, 15, 20 bucks a month. Great, you know, go out to a nice McDonald's dinner, I guess. But if you want more than that, you're going to have to do more work. Set your sights even on 2, 3, 4, 5 people a month and see what the impact can be.
Okay, yeah, you said 90 days, set it for 90 days.
I would say everybody should commit in the back of their mind to putting in a year. Okay, think about changing the course of your life and how long reasonable expectation should be. Here's where I think the big trap is. We all see these gurus who are paying to market to us that we can get rich quick and they have the secret sauce. And if we'll just pay them to learn how to do it, they will show us the path. Guys, the path is free. Everybody, you can go out and find out this information on your own of what you need to do to be successful. You have to put in the work. And then it's just a matter of time. And everybody's trying to sell you on a shortcut, but I'm telling you, consistency is key. If you can go out and do 5, 10, etc., but commit to putting it into practice so that you can measure the effort. And it's not going to happen overnight. If you do this for a month and you're at $8 and stop, you are in the valley of despair. You know what I mean? Commit to 90 days at a minimum. If we're thinking about that in terms of weeks, it is 12 weeks. We're going to take everything 1 week at a time. And that brings me to my next thing, Danon. And I'm going to get up here and get to the board. And hopefully you guys can see some of this. But 1 week at a time. And then once you know what your week cycle is going to be, we're going to take this 1 day at a time. And if you can just focus on your daily activities and win as many days as you can, you will make forward progress. But it's going to take a time commitment. So I say 90 days, okay? Focus 1 week at a time, that's 12 weeks. And if at 12 weeks, you've done the work, you put in the effort, you've measured the results, and you haven't gotten here, something is horribly wrong. And we're gonna obviously check along the way, 1 month in, 2 months in, 3 months in, but give yourself 90 days to figure it out. For some of us, it's like learning to swim. You may not hit it out of the park the first time you jump in the water. But as soon as you start doing the habitual daily activity, it might take you a week or two to get that dialed in. You know, give yourself 12 weeks. Make sense, Damon?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through the plan that I've got back here. I don't know if you guys can see my board, but I'm going to walk you through some of the steps. And a lot of this rolls out of a book I read a long time ago. We want to make the process or systems simple, right? It's got to be simple to get to $1,000 per month. Again, completely scalable. So if you want to do 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, the question is going to be yours. And are you willing to put in the effort to bridge that gap? And a book that I read that was very, very important. And Shelly, I'll go ahead and pull my desk over. Let me adjust some stuff and maybe I can get you guys a little bit closer and we'll speak to the board here. I did set this to speaker view. That helps, Shelly? I did set this to speaker view and hopefully I'm full screen for you guys. If you can enlarge me and we'll go through this really quick. In fact, I'm gonna move my chair out of the way and you guys get to see me get up here and work on some stuff. So consistency is key. We want something that's simple and repeatable and duplicatable, something that you can do, but also something that your leverage or your referral network can repeat or do. I read a book that was a game changer for me. This was when I was young and in college and on my early entrepreneurial venture and journey. And it was The 4-Hour Workweek, a Tim Ferriss book. If you've ever read it, it's a great, great read. That's where I learned a lot about doing work for work's sake versus working harder, working smarter than harder. And I wanted to look at, this is something that I feel like people can block out and make the time commitment to participate in. And I think that's a big thing that we talked about earlier with the Wheel of Life and the method of operation and the time blocking. And so we came up with what we're calling the sort of 5-hour work week for the affiliates, guys. And this is how we're going to support you in getting to $1,000 per month and what your role is going to be, which is basically the marketer, the seller, or the inviter. Okay, so what does a 5-hour work week look like? It looks like 1 hour call, 1 day a week. And some of you will be able to make those calls live. Some of you will watch the replay. Some of you will reshare the replay out. If you can commit to participating and carving that out into your schedule and prioritizing that time, we will show you how 1 hour a day, 5 hours a week, that I believe everybody can commit to, even if they've got a regular 9 to 5, can follow along with. So we talked about just now planning and preparing to win. Every Monday, okay, Saturday and Sunday, that's your will, skill, and refill, right? If you haven't gotten your plan, you can will it, you can look at what the skills are, you can refill into that. That's going to be the challenge every weekend for all of us and the people that we introduce to LFI. Then on Mondays, we do our weekly sprint planning, but we want to open it up and be more conversational. Instead of Guy and I just being talking heads, talking about a topic and sharing it out to everybody, we want to invite you guys to participate. I've had a lot of amazing participation on this call, and it's been invaluable to myself and to the community. So I want to thank you guys for contributing to that. And that's part of the goal in 2022, to make this a collaborative community of entrepreneurs who are helping other affiliates become successful. We truly believe that that high tide will raise all ships. And Monday sprint planning is all about having a plan. What is your plan? What is your wheel of life? Are you sticking with this? Are you being consistent? Where do you need to adjust? And we're going to hit that every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, okay? 1, make sure you plug into that. If you can join us live, amazing. At a bare minimum, watch the replay, and we'll post replays of every one of these meetings. Number 2, if you want to focus on 4 in a month, you have things that you can share and invite people to. And I truly believe bringing people into the community is not only going to expose them to everything that LFI is and that Shuffle is and can do for them and the value that the tools create, it's also going to show them that there's a bigger community that they can be part of, and the mission and the goals that we collectively as a community are working on together, and invite them to join and participate in that. And ultimately, those are the duplicators that are going to move the biggest needle for you in the end, is the people you're bringing into the community who will duplicate. Shelly, go ahead.
I know the biggest needle movers that doTERRA has seen over the last 15 years now is education. You educate somebody on oils, they will buy more oils and they will become a lifetime member. So the more you educate, the more people will stick around because they feel like they're part of the community.
100%. And so for us, even though we're a software company building tools for entrepreneurs, small business professionals, work at home professionals, direct sellers, right? We're also a community of those individuals who can help each other educate and learn, because it's all part of a bigger process. When we talk about the planning and the preparing, Shuffle is just one element of preparing. It's just one tool that you're going to be leveraging along with other tools like a calendar, you know, or an alarm clock. You know, these are all elements that play a role in us getting our stuff done. But LFI and Shuffle and Tap does not need to be everything. It just needs to be one element of that. And Shelly, to your point, this is part of education. We want to show people that there's a simple process, plan, and system that they can follow, much like all of us have, to yield predictable results. And we've talked about testimonials and what our stories are in past conversations. Dane and I know we talked a little bit about that on Tuesday's call, right? What's your story? Think about your affiliate story, right? I learned about Shuffle and the tools, but I also learned that they had an affiliate program and that I could get paid just by using this thing and sharing it with other people. And I chose to go down the path, and this has been the result. And I think it can be the result for everybody else. Okay, so be thinking about that. And then we're going to be talking about the plan that anybody can run to get to where they're going and anywhere in the wheel of life. And we'll continue to reiterate that because we truly believe in that system and that process that we can all pour into. On Tuesdays, okay, Tuesdays at 2 p.m., it's going to be a standing meeting time for all things LFI tools, the Shuffle, the Tap, the different modules we're working on, and any other tools we work on in the future. We want to learn how to use the tools. The old analogy that I always use is if we need to dig the foundation so that we can go up, we can use a shovel, and we all know it's pretty intuitive on how to use a shovel. You just start digging and lifting and scooping, or we can use a backhoe, okay, an earth mover, right? But if we don't know how to sit in there and move the levers, we'll never use the backhoe. The hole will never get dug. These are the tools. On Tuesday, we want to learn the best practices of how to use and implement the tools. Do you know that the tap card is the easiest and fastest way to share information with somebody when you're in person with them, right? Like, this is it. If you don't know that or how to set that up or where to point that to, join us on Tuesdays or invite other people to join us so that they can learn about these tools. Same thing with Shuffle. I mean, if you want to be the ultimate networker, if you want to generate new leads, if you want to network online and offline, if you want to create a digital business card or any other type of marketing collateral or become a master at relationship management, you can learn the features within Shuffle that support those things. Again, we're going to cover it on Tuesdays. It'll be recorded and a replay will be available, but the topics will typically be driven, at least early on, by the participants in that. And again, we're going to encourage everybody on every one of these. In order to get to our 4 per month, your goal just needs to be not just participating yourself, but inviting people to come along with you. Not just your prospects, you want to invite those, but also your team members who you're supporting. You want to show them that there's ongoing resources available to an entire community that wants to support them. So Monday is sprint planning, Tuesdays at 2 with Kathy is going to be a tech. Wednesday is Mindset of a Champion. Be aware that this is an additional subscription. If you want more information about that, reach out to us and we will get it for you. But this Mindset of a Champion is very similar to what we've been talking about with Born to Win and all of these other skills that help you lean into that process or that system, whether it's a skill set on how to make a sale or how to talk to somebody, whether it's a skill set on how to make a plan and execute that plan, whether it's a skill set on having the right mindset to continue on when the going gets tough. A lot of that gets covered on the Mindset of a Champion call on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to start doing more things just like we're doing right now this Thursday. We're going to have an open roundtable discussion. I don't want to be the person who's up here on the soapbox telling everything. I want to create a collaborative environment where we can Q&A and offer all these great ideas and resources to the community so that high tide raises all ships, okay? So we'll come up with topics for Thursday. And again, we want you to participate in this and we want you to invite people to come to these. And then Friday is Friday with the Founders. Some of you are very familiar with this. Again, roundtable discussion about a topic, Q&A with everybody. And the last portion of Friday with the Founders, we overview the affiliate program, okay? So if you have 5 one-hour meetings going on each week that you can participate in, how do you go from having no referrals to adding referrals? You leverage these meetings. You invite somebody to participate and learn a little bit more. During each meeting, if we make it collaborative, if you come on and you say, hey guys, it's Shelly, I'm joining from here. Hey, it's Dana, I'm joining from here. Hey, it's Hal, so good to be here. And you introduce a guest. I brought my friend, my sister, my brother, other entrepreneurs, somebody from my chamber, and I'm excited for them to learn about a system or process and why planning is important and about this community, or about these tools that they can leverage by coming on Tuesday, or about the mindset of a champion and what it takes to actually be successful in all areas of the wheel of life. We're on Thursday about an open topic. We're on Friday to learn about an amazing company and a compensation plan that they can plug into irregardless of their background or skill set. If you do that and you make a goal, and we go back to these goals that we're setting, to make invites, to share this out, to think of who could benefit. And really it's about helping. Who could this meeting help today? And you're consistent with that. And Danon, I'm going to speak specifically to you. This could be prospects, right, that we might not be working with, or it could be our team members. If I've got somebody who I brought in and they're a customer, but I know they'd be an amazing affiliate, guess what? I want to bring them into the fold. I want to show them that they have an awesome testimonial that they're already sharing just by using the technology, and that if they lean into it a little bit more, they can create another stream of income, right? We're not telling everybody, hey, drop everything, put in 40 hours a week here, you know, and just focus on all things LFI and all things Shuffle. What we're talking about is participate in an hour a week commitment over the next 12 weeks, right? Go out and make a diligent focus on inviting to these things. Even if you're going to end up watching the replay, I would suggest that you're there if you've got an invite that you want to introduce. And then we're going to call them out. We're going to make sure their questions get answered. We're going to talk about the topics, and we're going to, as a community, help you support the referral of your invite. If you do that consistently each and every week with the goal of just getting one person per week, you know, maybe, and again, I don't want to sort of sell you short by saying just invite to one of these meetings a week. If you're diligent, you're going to invite to all of them with the goal of it yielding in one referral per week. You know what I mean? And did you win the week? Did you get your one referral? If you do that consistently, in 12 weeks, you're going to have 12 referrals. Shelly, go ahead.
And I just thought of something. If we make a card for each one of these days, we can just send out the card.
Exactly. So now you know what we're working on. So we're going to do these live meetings, but also what we're working on is creating the content for you to share. Okay, updating all of the cards, the week at a glance card. Okay, the week at a glance card, this is the week at a glance, right? But to Shelley, your point, a sub card for each of these meetings, right? What do you mean by my ability to generate prospects, my ability to handle relationships, my ability to network?
We couldn't hear you at first. You went out.
So sorry. No, just creating the material for you to share out. So the week at a glance card will get updated, and then you'll see 5 sub cards for each of these events, probably a 6th one for will, skill, and refill. Again, we don't want to give you so much stuff that you're overwhelmed and don't know what to share. You're going to have those resources, and you're going to have your invite resources. So things that are specific to certain areas of the application, like inviting people to get a free business card. Think about this. How many business cards could you give out if you had unlimited to give this year? Everybody we all encounter deserves to have a free business card, okay? Maybe that's a goal you set for yourself as part of the inviting. The first step is, I want to gift you this free business card. We could all set a goal at the beginning of the year. We mentioned it earlier, the great resignation is going on. So many people have sat back and analyzed their lives and are deciding on what their path is, that they're starting new things and doing new things. Each one of them would benefit from a free digital business card. So that could be one thing that you're handing out every day. And again, you know, if I gave 5 business cards away today, it could be going through LinkedIn, it could be going through Facebook, it could be reaching out to my phone contact list. Give them something. That's a sample. Then bring them into the community, invite them to participate. Learn how to use that free business card you just got. Join us on Tuesday. Learn the other features that come along or can get added on. Join us on Tuesday. Here is an invite. Again, participation in activity will yield the results. Was there more on that, Danon? Sorry, I hope I gave you a good overview there.
No, you had blacked out, but you kind of bounced back in to whereas when you explained.
So some of those affiliate resources will get updated. Week at a glance, the event cards, a free card to invite people to get a free business card. Again, everybody in the world. Here, think about it from this perspective. There's a few different angles you can take, right? I mentioned this two Fridays ago. Do you remember in 2019, 2018, 2020, somewhere around there, everybody just said, wow, we've got to kill the plastic straw. You remember that? Now everybody's using metal straws or no straws at all. I don't know
Yes, the poor turtles.
Right, right. And we all said, yes, we can completely understand why plastic straws are bad. Now we'll all make a conscious effort to collectively stop using them. You want to know something that's just as bad as a plastic straw? A paper business card, let alone a lot of printed material. Again, we could all set our sights on a mission as part of our wheel of life to have an impact by getting people to replace paper cards with digital cards. That could be just one focus. You know what I mean? So there's some of that, or measuring the engagement. We already know business cards don't work too. So why are we doing the same thing over and over again, expecting them to work? We do know that digital business cards work because they're measurable, because we can give calls to action and paths to follow, because we have the data to back it up with the revenues that it generated for our businesses. What is Shuffle? Again, that's more of an overview of what Shuffle is as the whole ecosystem and what the modules will be as we modularize it. An affiliate card, this is what the affiliate program is, and I'm inviting you to learn a little bit more about it. And that would be a great segue into Friday with the founders. This is what the community is, the topic is, the affiliate program is, and answering any of their questions, and the tap card. And then in the future, we'll continue to provide cards and landing pages that you as affiliates can share out in addition to making the invites.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yep. So guys, I know we've been on for 2 hours here. If you've watched this as a replay and you've stuck around this long, I want to thank you for giving us some time. I'm just going to open this up for any last questions. I've covered everything that I wanted to cover here. I knew it would take a lot of time. We can chase rabbits down holes and have continued follow-up conversation on any of this stuff. But I truly believe anybody who comes in, does their wheel of life and determines where they are and where they want to go, and looks at LFI as a path to accomplish some of those things, not all of them, but some of them. Maybe it's the career, maybe it's the financial goals for you. Heck, maybe this gives you the time freedom or the location freedom to focus on family. Again, this all works together to yield the results. Hopefully, I've given you an overview of how you can go from just learning about LFI to creating a passive residual income. And I believe, and I know that if you run this and are consistent with it, you can go out, or anybody can go out and make 1 referral a week, 4 referrals per month. That's $80 in our example of total sales, and get to $1,000 a month in residual income. The other reality of all of this is you're going to be able to do it for no more than the cost of your own shuffle. You know, there's not going to be a bunch of extra expense or anything like that. And ultimately, in my mind, as an entrepreneur and a business owner, this process will get you your business in the black versus in the red. Because at the end of the day, if I'm making $1,000 per month, I'm still only spending my 20, 30, 40 bucks a month on my shuffle tools or my tap cards or whatnot. Okay, guys, any last questions before we wrap this up?
About how many shares do you think that takes per day, like per week type of thing, to get that 4?
Yeah.
Just in your estimate.
No, this is good, Shelly. The answer that I always like to say is it depends, right? What is the quality of the sphere of influence that you are going after? In your case, and again, because you're part of an existing network, there might be a high quality group of individuals who are all working towards the same common goal, like doTERRA, where there's a lot of people that are all on the same page and the message gets absorbed quickly. It could be an email to your mailing list that gets 100 people immediately. You know what I mean? Then it's completely different. But I like to think of it from the, I'm just starting from scratch. I don't know anybody. Can I be successful at this? It is a pure numbers game. I learned this early on with affiliate marketing. And it's like, we knew that we would have a certain conversion rate. This conversion rate is not specific because each person's sphere of influence is a little unique. But you can go to certain places, chambers, right? Networking events, all the things where your shuffle target audience, the total addressable market out there is. Okay, where the focus should be, to be honest, guys, unless you're talking about marketing the opportunity, I'd stay away from friends and family, right? Unless you're saying, hey guys, here's a path for some income and I'm doing this and committed to this and I can show that it's working and I want to bring you along for the ride. You know, that's like the acres of diamonds or the gold rush. It's about like, hey guys, look, I found some gold and it's here. And if you want to dig it too, you're welcome to come along. But I don't want to be the person that's sitting on my mound of gold saying, I never told you about it and I kept it a secret. That's the only time I would say friends and family, unless I knew that they could benefit from the solutions themselves. However, the target audiences that I think about, it's really about the customer. You know what I mean? Who uses a business card? Full stop. Think about in the back of your mind, if you're thinking that memory jogger, of who uses a business card. I know on Friday with the Founders, Mike Snow would say something like, follow the dollar. Everywhere where you spend $1 is a business owner who's trying to promote and market their business. And again, I think of business cards as the first thing. You can give every business out there a business card. You could go into LinkedIn, Shelly, and every day send out 5 messages to those lions that you know in LinkedIn on how they should get a free business card that can direct people back to their LinkedIn and their Instagram and their resume and their website and their brands and their products and their services or whatnot. You know, here it is for free. Check it out. And then once they're in, you've already gotten credit for that referral. As they get more immersed, you say, hey, great, you got that free business card. Join us on Tuesday so you can learn how to implement it and maximize it. They start participating and all of a sudden they're upgrading from a free to a pro account or adding on a module or buying a tap card to link to their free card, etc. And you're going to start to monetize that person. But I would go to where the audience is, you know what I mean? And how you're positioning it. Offline and online, if I was doing offline, I would be going to where the businesses are, right? You could walk around your local small business area in your community. It's like being a member of a chamber and going to introduce yourself to everybody. Let me give you my card. Let me grab your card. Oh, wait, let me give you a free digital business card. I want to learn about your business and see if there's a way I can help you be more successful. I've got a great community that I belong with. You should participate in that type of thing. Again, that's the messaging, but it's all going to be a numbers game. I truly think if you dial in what you're sharing, right information to the right person at the right time, what you're giving, what you're circling back around on, that you could acquire skills that are 50% conversion rate if you spend the time on it. You know what I mean? What does that mean? If I have to get 4 people this month, I have to have 8 really good conversations. If I don't feel like I'm at 50%, maybe I'm at 25% or at 10%. Even at 10%, 1 in every 10 people I talk to, for 4 people in a month, that means I need to talk to 40 people this month. A little over 1 a day. But I could easily block out like an hour every morning or 30 minutes every morning or 5 minutes in the evening to message people on Facebook, to make calls through my contact list, to send some emails from people I haven't talked to in a while. There's such a massive total addressable market when you think about it. Here's an example. In the US alone, there are 30 million registered small businesses, 5 or fewer employees. And these are the people who have registered, not your solopreneurs and sole proprietors who are just operating under a shingle, hung their shingle somewhere. These are people who physically registered with the Secretary of State. We are running a business. We are filing business taxes. We are doing all of this type of stuff. 30 million. I'll tell you what, all of them need a business card. All of them need marketing materials or digital brochures. All of them have relationships, customers, prospects, etc., that they need to manage. All of them in some way probably network. These are all features and functions of our LFI tools. So when you think about it in terms of that, 30 million in the US, oh my goodness, there's more than enough to go after and to go around. You just need to know, who am I targeting within that based on my own spheres of influence. The only other thing I would add is, what is the low-hanging fruit for you? And we're all going to be different, right? Who is my low-hanging fruit is based on what I currently do and who I currently know. And then think about it in terms of the customer relationships and the opportunity side of things. One thing that I know is very important, and it was extremely important for me, ask yourself who your partner is. Do you have an accountability partner? Do you have somebody who's joined you in your business? Shelly, you probably have a partner for your doTERRA business. Maybe it's an upline leader or a downline person you sponsored, but it's somebody you're consistently checking in with. You're consistently holding each other accountable. If you don't have a partner here with LFI, 1, the community is your first partner and your first accountability buddy. But number 2, seek that out. Who would you want to be your partner? I have this partner that is Guy, and it's the best partner I could ever ask for. Like I said, I don't win every day, but on the days that I'm struggling, he's holding me accountable and encouraging and inspiring me to get back on track. If you don't have that, your risk of failure goes up. But if you do have that, it goes down drastically. Hal, I saw your hand go up. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can. I got you.
Yeah.
Now.
I've been using Shuffle Card, for over a year. When I first joined it, I became an affiliate member.
Yep.
I upgraded. I have 50 opportunities where I can create cards. So are you telling me that I'm able to create a free card outside of those 50 that I've already purchased to give those away?
No, I'm telling you how that you can give a link to anybody where they can get their own free card.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So if you wanted to share or give out free cards to people, you can literally send them a link. And in fact, let me go ahead and share my screen again. I'll show it to you guys right now.
Yeah.
It's available right now. And if you go into, let me see, probably here.
Okay, yeah, while you're looking for that, I know that you all were supposed to have been customizing or changing the free card. Have you all did it to where you put the the watermark and everything on it that you was talking about?
Yeah, everything should be good to go to Shuffle Promote Free. I want to show you where I'm at. This is a card template that we've got. And this link right here, claim your free card, that is your link. So it will link back to you. So if you download this card and just set yourself a goal, I want to share this out to 10 people today. Like, hey guys, Happy New Year. I know you're focused on driving your business forward. I figured a free digital business card might help you. Here you go. And then watch what results, because you'll get pinged if somebody enrolls through that because they become part of your direct referrals. So I'm close this out. I'm logged in online. I've gone to the web. You guys can do this from your mobile phone. I'm adding a card. So Hal, you can do one of your 50 cards could be this free offer that you're going to send out to people. Okay. But as well, in the future, we don't even want these promotion cards to count against the cards that you have. So they will be complimentary to you. But I'm hitting the plus to create a new card. It's under the mobile builder. You go there, Danon. And then underneath the mobile builder, Hal, you have an option over here on the left-hand side to promote LFI. And when you map that down, there's a free card option right above. There's some other options if you want to share those out as well. Full price way to sign up, a discounted way to sign up, trials that they could have where you set different price points, although we think we're probably going to be eliminating those trials just because we don't want anybody to feel like they've been tricked into anything. We want people to try before they buy. So I think it just makes sense to really lean into the free card. When you select that free card option, it will pull up the Shuffle Promote Free template. You can review this template. It's a free card offer. So excited to share Shuffle with you. I know you'll find the app useful, etc. Claim your free card here. And they click on that, it'll take them straight into Shuffle and they can enroll. There will be no cost. When they get there, it will spin up a free card for them and they'll be good to go. Watch Shuffle in action. There's a little video on there, and then you can put your own information on here as well so that they know that you're the one who's sharing the free card with them. Obviously, when you use this template, it will put your code onto all of the buttons and calls to action so that you get credit on this. Again, one strategy going into 2022 that if you lean in on, this is like inviting, right? How many free cards could I give away? How many people could I help today? If you make a mission, I'm gonna send 10 free cards to people on LinkedIn, on Facebook group, on my mailing list. This just so they can get started and then invite them to take the next step or look deeper. It would make a big impact.
Okay. Yeah, as far as the free card, I know y'all been working on things, so what all will it entail? I know is it still up to 10 contacts and
no, so the free tier user limit will just be a free business card, okay? Again, I think in 2020 and 2021, we spent a lot of time expanding the feature set of everything within Shuffle and all the things Shuffle could do. And we tried to push some of those elements into a free offering where you could have a free business card, you could have some contacts, you could sort of experience the whole thing. The free business card, Danon, will just be a business card. If they want to know who's viewing that card, they're going to need to add in the full Shuffle so that they can see who's viewing the card. So there won't come with any contacts. It'll be a single template. So if they want additional templates, they're going to need to upgrade their account. But the free business card template will accomplish 99% of what everybody needs from a digital business card.
Can we use that now? Is that available now?
It is somewhat available now. Hal, the one template that's in there is actually in the advanced builder, and it's somewhat of the new free template. The new one, when it comes out, we will announce. But if you've ever been into your advanced desktop builder, under those standard cards, and I'm going to show two things because I think it'll really call it out. You'll see one that's called the standard business card. So that's going to be the template that everybody's going to have the capability to use. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like. And I'll talk about a few things that are adjusting on it. You'll be able to change this background behind your image, change your name, change any of that. And then Below here, it's a little bit different on the new one. It's going to have ways to contact you. You can select 4. It's going to have social media. You can add 4. It's going to have a call to action button. It's going to have a video. It's going to have lead capture. Pretty much everything anybody would need from a single business card. If they want more than that, they're going to need to upgrade.
Which one is that? Because I was looking at that number 18 template yesterday, where we could kind of, create different color buttons and all of that.
Yeah.
That's not the one you're talking about, is it?
It is not, Hal. The one I am talking about is labeled as the basic business card or free business card. It's one of the first options when you go to the desktop builder.
Okay.
And you look in right here, standard business card. Now, when we get the free one posted, and it's on the same one where you're going to see at the bottom, your template 18 that you're talking about is down here. It's just at the top. Okay, we're going to adjust it and launch it, and it'll be in the mobile builder as well. So that way people can enroll, sign up, and create a business card all from their mobile phone. They won't even need a computer to do it or start using it.
So if we start implementing the process of giving away the free business card, we need to go to the desktop builder to
No, if you want to build your own business card, you could do that through the desktop builder, but to be very clear and transparent, the latest one is under development and has not been pushed up. So you might want to wait to build your own. However, for the free users that you're inviting using that free card, part of that enrollment process includes it spinning up that free card for them, because they only have access to one template. So everything that you're seeing on your account, those free tier users aren't going to see all these other templates. They'll just see that one free business card that we're finishing up. And I hope to have it finished up by, I think we looked at it yesterday, the 3rd of January, it should go live.
Okay, Monday. So, okay, no, I'm saying, like, if we go in, we go to the free card on not the desktop builder, the mobile card builder.
Yeah.
If we go in there or have them go in there and they sign in, that they're going to get a card that they can put 4 social medias on, 4 whatever.
So here's what it looks like, Dana. You see my screen right now?
No, you're not showing. You haven't showed your screen now while you was talking. You didn't show your screen now while you was talking.
Okay.
But we didn't see what you was talking about when you were showing
stuff. So here is a good example of what that free business card will look like. I'm on the main page, lfishuffle.com. This is it. Imagine circle, background image. You can adjust what that background image is, your name, what you do. There will be a company title just below here. 4 ways for somebody to contact you. 4 ways for them to connect with you. Obviously, there are more ways for people to contact. If you want more than 4, got to upgrade. If you want more than 4 social media sites, got to upgrade. But you should be able to put your 4 primaries and accomplish what you're trying to do when you share a business card with somebody. A call to action, and then a video link, and then a lead capture link on there as well. All of these elements can be turned on or off. If you only have one way for people to contact you, you just put in one and only one icon shows. If you have no social media, you don't put any and that section doesn't show, or you put in 4 and it comes up. The button you can put to any outbound page you want it to go to. It could be to my LinkedIn, to my website, to my product brochure, whatever you want to do. The video, you can upload a video, Vimeo or YouTube. If you don't put any video, that section won't be there at all. And then the mailing list or this, you can change the title of it. It'll capture first, last, email, and phone. And as a free user, because you won't have contacts, Dana, when a free user uses this card and they get a new prospect or a new lead, it'll just email the lead information to them. If they want it added to contacts, upgrade your account and Shuffle will give you all the contact management you want.
Okay, but okay, so if we implement that strategy today and they go in and get Shuffle and get the free one, I mean, if they go off the one that we've been using, then they will get this card now, or they will keep getting
this one will become available on the 3rd.
On Monday. So
yeah, but they will get a template that's in there for the free one. Yeah.
But will it change? Will theirs change on Monday if we do it? Between now and
Monday, you might have just a few incremental people who actually get the advantage of the 10 contacts before that gets turned off when we launch the new one.
Okay.
So there's a benefit for anybody you give a free card to between now and Monday. You know what I mean? But at some point, Monday is the plan time. But again, development is fluid. We will upload the new free tier limit. And that's what's going to get rid of the 10 free contacts and just be a digital business card and point to this template.
Okay.
But you can still be giving away one free card. Just you can also bundle it with 10 free contacts until it changes. But I wouldn't prohibit myself from giving that free card invite that you can pull out on mobile right now. You know what I mean? You can still use that mobile template to offer and share out, starting right now, the free card offer.
Okay. Okay.
Any other last questions from anybody?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No questions. Just want to say thanks. And my goal for 2022 is to share the absolute shit out of that card.
Well, let us support you in accomplishing that goal, Shelley. We will do everything in our power to uplift the community and contribute and participate. We're going to work really diligently, not only on continuing to advance the technology, but also giving you guys the resources and support that you need. And look, independent, ask yourself, what did I make in Shuffle in 2021? Can you 10X that? You know, can you take it to wherever you want it to go? Our goal is to help and support you in doing it. So I want to
I
thank
do
you.
have a quick question. Do y'all integrate with Zapier or any of these CRM
Yes.
systems?
Yes, Hal, there is a Zapier integration. And in fact, you can go and create Zaps right now for anything that is third-party platforms on Zapier. A good thing that we've set up, I think it ties into contacts. So we've had people create Zaps with like their personal MailChimps or other things. So as they gather leads, they can create some of those other automations. We're big proponents on high-tech meeting high-touch. So we don't wade into a lot of that automation stuff, but we don't want to restrict you guys from participating in it if you want to zap between things.
Well, it would be good because I use Phone Burner and I use Active Campaign, and it would be great if I could then follow, I could dump my prospect or client list into you guys and then follow it up and go automatically send them, the contacts.
Yep.
The info. So you're telling me I can do that, then that's
you can
good.
do that. You're going to need to, if you're familiar with Zapier, create the Zaps and do that type of stuff, but we are integrated with Zapier. You will see us within Zapier there. The other thing I will throw out as a word of caution, Hal, if you're running the affiliate program, please consider duplication, okay? One thing that you do may not be something that everybody who you want to leverage will be able to do. I know everybody can leverage the process and the system of inviting and sharing that we've talked about in the live meetings and the cards. Anything else supplementally you want to do, or anything that might support your primary brand, business, product, or service, by all means, it's there to support it.
Right. Well, this is for prospecting for my insurance business.
Yep.
So
then absolutely create those Zaps and use your phone system to get a hold of them and do all of that type of stuff.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Great.
thanks.
I have questions.
Yes, Dana.
Okay. I mean, it might be kind of personal, but maybe it'll everybody understand it. Okay, the copy that you have on the insiders, are we able to use that?
Which copy?
Like the post that they make on insiders.
Absolutely.
The copy that you have on the cards.
Any of the materials that we make available, Danon, you are welcome to reshare. If you think somebody would benefit from watching this 2.5-hour replay about planning, by all means, reshare. Content is king. So if you want to invite somebody into insiders, you know what I mean, and tag them in a post or reshare a post with another group that you're a part of, do it. Take the action.
No, I was saying like the post that they put on there with the like tips or get with Shuffle or Shuffle does this. If I would like, if I needed to use it, then or I could use that. What about the information like on cards and stuff that you put out there, or the stuff that's on the cards as we?
You are welcome to re-leverage, clone, use anything that I put out there as well.
Okay. Now my next one is, Who do I send my tap card numbers to? Because remember I told you I found them, and I know you mentioned about getting
support at LFI.
Okay,
And the
so
big
send
thing
it.
on that, if you did get a tap card, there is a serial number on each one. And this is what Danon is talking about. That corresponds also to a QR code. And we can set this QR code. It gives directions on how to order tap cards and set up tap cards to your affiliate ID. But in order to do that, we need your serial number. So if you receive tap cards from us while at the event, if you've ordered tap cards and they got mailed to you, we've already assigned them to you. And if you want to validate, you can scan the back of it, go through the checkout process, obviously log out of your account so it's not going to auto log you in, and you can see that your referral ID is tied to that enrollment flow.
Okay,
So
support
at LFI, support at LFI.com. And just say, hey, this is Danon, email address that's tied to your account. This serial number's tied to your tap cards. And we'll get those set up for you.
Okay, and I have another one. Okay, I think you, okay, how long would before, okay, you mentioned the free business card to be set up by Monday. What about the daily events cards and things like that you went over?
As quick as we can get them done while dealing with everything else. That's the reality. You know, I know we come on Fridays and on Mondays and we talk about all this stuff we're working on. And that's
Okay.
the thing, we're working on it. You know what I mean? But we're also developing technology, iterating technology, advancing technology, doing our meetings, talking to companies. And part of that, in our mind, I know it's a high priority for you guys, tends to be a lower priority based on the other stuff that we have going on. So here's what I would suggest as well. In the meantime, we will get there and we will have those things. In the meantime, if you need to put something together, and Danon specifically, you mentioned on the Tuesday call about PowerPoint presentation. Again, if you need to go through and put something together to get out there, do it. Do it. When I started out in affiliate marketing, the affiliate programs gave me my link and that was it. I had to put together all of the marketing material. So take that for what it's worth. Go and put together marketing material and test it. We will put together and we will look at what performs and try to give and serve up stuff for you to reshare. But you know your audience, you know your sphere of influence. You've got shuffle. Grab template 18 like Hal was talking about and put some stuff together and just start sharing. What I don't want to have happen is if we're saying, hey guys, we're going to put an event card together, that you don't talk about the events at all or share out the events until that card gets created. That's the wrong thing to do. Get out there and start sharing it. Even if you just have to write up a post to somebody, hey everybody, I'm getting on this cool call. We're going to be talking about planning in our lives and in our businesses and how that has an impact. I want to invite you to come. Here's the Zoom link, you know, and eventually that will get updated or replaced with a different invite. But the key is inviting, not whether the card exists or not.
Would this be a recording?
Yeah, it's actually live on YouTube right now. So once we end this, it will be available for a replay and a reshare.
Okay, because I couldn't find it on the actual.
Make sure you are on the LFI YouTube channel. There are several
No,
YouTube channels.
Okay, I was on the Insider and the.
We're gonna on the Zoom only allows us to go live to one social location. So our game plan for 2022 on all video recordings, we will go live to YouTube. It will be available on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing. If you're looking for other actions to do that help collectively, make sure to give this a like or a thumbs up in YouTube. Make sure to reshare it. That helps the algorithm raise the viewing count on who this gets served to. You can grab the reshare link and send it out to people, but at a minimum, you want to at least be consuming the information yourself.
Okay, how do I get on it on the YouTube channel?
Go to youtube.com, go search for LFI, and this is going to be the LFI YouTube channel. There's also a Shuffle by LFI YouTube channel. It is not that one, it is the LFI one. We do operate both. And then also,
search what? Search what? What am I searching?
LFI, ELIFY, LFI.
Just
Okay.
okay.
And in fact, I just had that up because it is live right now. And I'm looking at what the channel is. And it's just called the LFI channel.
Okay.
And then what we will end up doing is we'll take those videos out of YouTube. We'll rebroadcast out a replay link. So people on the system will get that push notification that the replay is available. In addition, we'll also repost it in social. So if you're inviting people to Insiders Group as well to be part of the community and ask questions, we want to create community and dialogue within that Facebook group. We will repost to that Insiders as well.
So if we watch the video on the post and we have questions, we can ask questions and they'll get answered. Okay.
Exactly. And ultimately, that's the goal, right? We want to have conversation about all of this stuff, because if there's an unknown or unanswered question that anybody has, that could be a block or barrier from them getting from where they are to where they're going. So let's just work collectively as a community to help everybody be as successful as they can be. Again, in my mind, there's an addressable market of 30 million people in the United States. Let's do some basic math at $10. If they bought a digital business card at $10, that is $300 million a month in available revenue. Now, I'm a realist. I know we're not going to get 30 million people on Shuffle, but think about it as 10% conversion of that is 3 million people. That's $30 million a month, half of which we pay out to affiliates. You know what I mean? That's $15 million a month in affiliate payouts, and anybody can stake their claim to any portion of that they want to go after.
Okay. I had another question as far as. Okay, now as far as the I know you offered I guess a competition. When was that? When was the deadline for that? When is the deadline for the competition?
I'm just going up through New Year's. It was just a testimonial thing. Then I'm going to go back and pull all of those. I might post some out and say, hey guys, we've got a few leaders. Who do you think? Otherwise, we'll just pick one. And it's for the mug. I'll show it again.
Okay, and the free card, will you be able to, like, once they realize they do need to get Shuffle, would they be able to order, upgrade from off that card?
All of it will progress towards encouraging an upgrade. So they will have access to that. There are some nuances like Apple. We may not be able to offer the direct upgrade path in the native application because we want to avoid the Apple surcharge of 30%. So we require everybody to upgrade through their online account, if that makes sense. But once they have their card and they have their account, essentially every time that they're using it, they're going to be encouraged in one way or another to understand the value of upgrading, right? It's like, hey, Danon, somebody just viewed your card. Sweet, my card's getting viewed. Do you want to know who is viewing your card with a big question mark? You can know who if you upgrade. You know what I mean? Hey, Danon, you got this great card template, but wouldn't you like a Shuffle card as a brochure or different business card or to talk about your brand or your service? You're going to need to upgrade if you want more cards or more templates. So again, all of those will be exposed to people either in the app on the phone or on the desktop or in conversation as we bring them into the community and we talk about all of those benefits. Ultimately, I still know, and Danon, you brought up some of the number questions on Tuesday, that a majority of our users are just going to be free business card users. But that's good. Again, when Shuffle, Kathy, I think, told the story where she was at an event or in a group and she saw somebody else's Shuffle link and she didn't know who that person was. The reality is right now, the world does not know about us, okay? We have been going through the last 3 years in the early adopter cycle, okay? But this is like the adoption of electric cars or the adoption of metal straws. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen overnight. You have the early adopters. We're getting ready to hit this growth phase, and that's our expectation for 2022 and 2023. And by 2025, we should be on a full-on growth phase where everybody's knowing about Shuffle and LFI as a brand, where people are like, hey, can you just shuffle that to me? Are you a shuffler? Can you send me your shuffle card, etc.? Are you on LFI? Are you part of the LFI community? It will become a common brand. Once it does that, we're in full growth phase, and we'll starting to hit maturation. What does a mature product life cycle look for us? By 2025, 2026, we've got between 1 million and 5 million users, okay? That's ultimately the goal. And I'm not talking about the free users here. I'm looking at the paid users as well. You know what I mean?
Okay, my main, okay, not really my main question, but let's just get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Branding yourself. How does that connect with how, like, say, okay, I want to change, instead of saying shuffle, or I want to offer you a business card. If I want to say, okay, I want to offer you a greenback, you know, hey, yeah, I'm Dana Davis is passing out greenbacks. How do you put the two or three together, meaning greenback, shuffle, and LFI? How would them be promoted, basically? What would be?
Well, look, obviously as an affiliate, you are an ambassador of our brand. So you can lean into that, right? But I always say, like, it's not about me. It's not about Guy. It's not about LFI even. At the end of the day, it's actually about you. So you want to brand Dana Davis, you know what I mean? You want to brand who you are and what your mission is, what you're trying to accomplish, what your authentic, fully balanced wheel of life looks like. You know what I mean? Once you start targeting that, you're building a brand around yourself. What I see all too often, and this might be a fatal flaw for a lot of people who join companies and organizations, is they fixate on branding the company and focusing on that. And then if something changes or something shifts, they can't step away from that brand, or they're too attached to that brand. If you brand yourself, who is Danon? And why is it important for me to link my wagon to Danon? You know what I mean? And if you don't feel confident about who you are or what you're working towards, that's where you start. Once you start getting that, it's going to start to click, and you'll say, I know what my brand is and what I stand for and what I'm working towards. And then you're just inviting people to come along with you, to join you in that journey, and to start developing that brand for themselves. Because the people that you're inviting to participate and leverage the duplicators that you'll be looking for, they're not going to brand themselves Danon. They're going to brand themselves. And they're all going to have their own unique individual stories. That's why we come back and say, what is Danon's story? You know what I mean? I know what ER's story is, right? I know what got me from where I was to where I am today, and what will get me to where I'm going. And it's always going to be a journey. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to share that with people, but I want to share what my brand is, because you need to find out and know and discover what your brand is. And there's not a fixed, this is the box of brand yourself and here's how you go into it. You sit there and you think on that and you muse on that and you discover that. And then once it's all clear and it clicks for you, you go, that's the brand I'm creating. And maybe it's Danon and greenbacks and it's all about financial freedom, and you're on a path and you're validating that path and you're inviting people to join. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's about saving the turtles and eliminating the paper business card. That's part of my brand, right? I want to have that impact.
So would it be safe to say it would be greenback partnered with Shuffle, powered by LFI? Is that how?
Sure. And in fact, I would make it that priority. If your brand is greenback, you know what I mean? Then I put 90% of that on that if you're focused on promoting that. And again, you have to go back and ask, what am I promoting at this instant? It's the right information to the right person at the right time, right? When I was selling a car using Shuffle, everything on the card was about the car I was selling, not about me, right? If I'm out there promoting LFI and Shuffle, then I'm going to make it about LFI and Shuffle. But if I'm out there promoting myself, my products, or my service, I'm going to make it about that. So ask yourself, what is that brand that you're creating greenback stand for? And how is that in relation to LFI and to Shuffle? You know what I mean?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any last questions from anybody? Danon, any last things?
So far, no. I just, like I say, my thing was, I've been looking at a lot of trainings about branding.
Yep.
And I didn't know how I could incorporate this into that, and how I had to actually word it to whereas, because I know shuffle. If I'm talking about greenbacks, I mean if I say greenbacks, then I was trying to see how. Okay, yeah, greenback would be the name of my promoting a business card, but I know shuffle does more, and I was trying to say, do I eliminate shuffle and just use greenback as opposed to the CRM, as opposed to the marketing strategies or the network strategies
Well, you could
that
say
you
it's
all are not
powered by. I mean, you could say it's powered by. It just depends on what, as a whole, the umbrella of greenbacks does. And without getting into an in-depth conversation on understanding what your goal and your mission is behind that company, that's going to dictate how you're positioning that brand for and the information that you're sharing to people about that brand. Does that make sense?
Well, I just wanted like greenback to be the overall picture, but I know you all are going into. I know we are actually going into a la carte thing and a packaging thing. So I didn't know how soon I needed to start promoting my systems as opposed to my packages, as opposed to what's going to happen with you all and with us.
Gotcha. Probably my goal is sometime Q1, Q2, so late Q1 through Q2, that we're going to start to see things shift from the entire shuffle ecosystem or a free card, right, to having all of the elements in between that they can a la carte. But ultimately, the goal, I believe, for everybody is the a la carte stuff is to put your foot in the water on each of the features or to manage your expense. But the true people who are committing to an overall tool set to help their brand and to promote, anything tied to relationship or networking and marketing, right? Networking and marketing, which are two big categories for any business, should really be a part of the full ecosystem.
Okay, well, is it possible you can give me the features that would be up under marketing and what would be under networking?
Yes, pretty easy. So under networking, we're talking about CRM, okay, relationship. There are 5 things I mentioned to everybody that is important on any relationship. And if you can answer these 5 questions about every one of your relationships, doesn't matter how you're doing it, you're going to be in a much better position to manage that relationship. We recommend doing it in Shuffle, but any tool could be used. People can do this on a spreadsheet. It's just not very efficient. The first thing is, who are they, right? What information do you have on that person that builds the picture of who they are? Number 2, how do you know them? Did Shelly refer them to you? Did Danon refer them to you? Did Sherry refer them to you? I want to know where I got that person from. Did they fill out a lead capture form? Because that's part of the start of that relationship. Okay, who are they? How do I know them? When have we interacted? Have I ever talked to this person before? I can't tell you the number of people I see who get leads and they never reach out to those leads. When have we interacted? If you've interacted with somebody every month for the last 6 months, you should know that you've had 6 interactions with that person. If you went out and had coffee 3 days in a row, you should know about each of those interactions, right? Who are they? How do I know them? When have we interacted? Tied with that is, what did we interact about? Okay, and there's lots of things you can be talking to people to spark conversation, to create interaction. We've talked about the person asking the questions controls the conversation. And by following the form or Ford model, you can have a lot of dialogue that will collect information by asking them questions about their family or their organization or their recreation or their dreams or their motivations, etc., to start to create that, right? But it's, who are they? How do I know them? When have we interacted? What did we interact about? And the most important one, the 5th one, is, when are we going to interact again? And part of the relationship loop that Shuffle supports for networking, okay, is creating that loop. If I always have a when am I going to interact again with every one of my relationships, it doesn't matter if I'm going to interact with them tomorrow or 6 months from now. I just want to make sure I don't let them fall through the gaps, that I end every interaction with setting the next interaction. Hey, it was so good getting coffee with you, Shelly. Why don't I follow up with you on Monday to talk about your family, or to follow up with how your mom's doing, or to talk about that new product we have coming out, etc. Again, I'm setting that expectation. And then when Monday comes, we're either having it, I'm following up with her, I'm outreaching her, maybe it's setting up the next one, etc. I need to know when I'm interacting again. That's what the CRM section does. The other element in addition to CRM is the card index, or your deck. Okay, and it's not your deck of cards, it's the cards you're collecting from other people. Okay, one of the benefits of Shuffle is it's social. So every one of us on here could have each other's cards. And in fact, I've shown before what my personal digital business card looks like. Okay, and I'm going to share that with you guys right now. You can see my personal business card on the desktop. I did my background. It's got my headshot. It's got my Elify brand. Why? Because I'm with Elify. If I was branding myself as something else, I wouldn't do as much Elify. It's got the ways they contact me. It's got a little bit of information or a blurb. It's got 2 outbound links. Again, learn more about Shuffle, become an affiliate. Those are the 2 paths that I'm giving people to take. The informational video, my links are all on there. When I'm introducing myself to people, because I'm a co-founder and partner here at Elify, my branding is focused on Shuffle and the tools that we provide and our mission at Elify. If you want to connect with me, I created a QR code. Anybody can scan this. And if they're on Shuffle as well, you can scan this from Shuffle and you can add my card to your card deck, okay? Your deck of cards. And what I love about that from the standpoint of networking, guys, I want to empower others to refer me business. This is like the whole crux of networking and where it's broken. If you go to a networking event, everybody's out there handing out these things. If you're part of a business networking organization, they're passing around the stacks of cards of other members and everybody's taking a few. But the reality is when somebody asks for a referral, are you equipped and empowered to give it? A good example of this is Kathy Inman, our master trainer. Everybody refers to her as the ultimate networker. Why? Because she knows everybody. Why? Because she gets their information collected within Shuffle and she can refer them out, including sharing their Shuffle card when somebody asks for it. Likewise, she's empowered all these other people with her Shuffle card so that when they say, you know who you need to know, my friend Kathy, it's real easy for them to connect them with Kathy. That's the other part of networking that's empowered by Shuffle. So you want to be focused on CRM and the card deck, the index of cards that you have to share, because it's all about connecting and being a servant to other people. You know, that's where Michael Ray made a bunch of money in 2021 on social when people would ask, hey, you know, I've got weather damage to my house. Does anybody know a contractor that does this stuff? Right? Yeah, Newman Construction of Dallas, they do it. Check it out. We'd love an opportunity to earn your business. And they'd post Michael Ray's card and he'd get another lead and he'd have another conversation and he might win another deal. But he was empowering people to share or reshare his card so that when somebody asked for a referral, hey, anybody know a plumber out there? We asked for plumbers twice this year because we had a water leak and we had our sprinkler stuff and we were looking for a referral. And in all of those instances, somebody gave us somebody else's information. If you can empower somebody to give your information and be empowered to give theirs, that mutual beneficial relationship will grow the network. So that's the networking side, Dane, and 2 things, the card index and the CRM. It'll be under one module, okay? CRM, the card index will be included in that free business card offering when we upload that. On the other side, for marketing, think marketing materials. It all starts out with that first impression, your digital business card, right? Here's who I am and what I do and how I can benefit you. That's really what we should be putting on our cards, right? Here's who I am. Here's what I do. Here's how it can benefit you. And then making it real easy for them to take action, independent on what you do. If you're a landscaper, you know, I don't just cut your grass. I make your yard look better than your neighbors. You know, if you want to make that happen, here's how you get a hold of me and I can give you a quote. And just make it real simple. Outside of the business card, if we're talking about marketing, you're really talking about other types of cards or landing pages. So it's creating or adding more cards, more templates. So it'll be about that, right? Do I want to purchase more cards? And we're going to sell those in modules of 10 card stacks. and you will pay for those. So there will not be in the future, for now there is, but in the future, there will not be a 100 card upgrade for a one-time fee. The people who are getting in early and securing that, they will be grandfathered in and they'll keep all of those cards. But for future people who will be using this to market themselves, if you need that marketing material and are using it, you will pay for what you use in blocks of 10. And if you don't need it, you can cancel it and only pay for what you're using, again, in blocks of 10. So everybody will start with one free business card. They'll add another 10 cards and they can create all types of landing pages or business cards out of that. In addition, we're going to be adding a section. This is a new module we've been working on called links. This is sort of a culmination of what we've learned from campaigns and other things. And it's really about tracking the traffic of the material that I'm sharing. We want to know that we should all be using the shotgun approach, right? Building some material and getting it out there. But we need to measure on what's working so that we can scale up what works and turn off what doesn't. Well, if you're a person who's sending out one link to everywhere, you can't gauge the difference between each place. You might find out every time I post something to this Facebook group, I generate 20 leads. Whew, I really want to be posting more information to this Facebook group more often because I can measure it. Whereas when I make this Instagram post or I go to this networking event, I'm never really generating more than 1 or 2 leads. Oh, wow, I would never have known that if I didn't use a different link, even if you're sharing the same card, you know, to gauge the difference between those things. And so just as much as CRM is important to show who, how, you know, all of those things, the marketing side, it's important to measure the impact of that marketing, A/B test, split test, incremental improvement, but measure and modify over time. If you think you're going to create the first best card right out of the gate, you're going to be sadly mistaken. I've never built a single website where the first time we created it and put it up there, it was a home run out of the park. We measured it, then we adjusted something. The traffic either went up or down, the conversion rate either went up or down. And we, again, continued to change things until there was a law of diminishing return and we had optimized the page to perform as good as it could perform. That's what everybody should be working towards any of their marketing content. And then how those things holistically work together, Damon, why you want to be part of the full Shuffle ecosystem, because it's about sharing the right information, that's the marketing, to the right person, that's the networking, at the right time, right? So holistically, we put it all together and we say, if I can use Shuffle to share the right information to the right person at the right time, I'm creating relationships that will yield more revenue, more sales, more network, more growth for me than not using any tool at all.
Okay, so we got the networking, which is CRM, and we got marketing, which is business cards, included with tracking.
Yep.
To measure
more cards and more links. So when I think about all 3 of those things, and when we're talking modules, it's really only 3 core modules. CRM, okay, and imagine that's $10, okay? Pages, you need 10 more pages, $10. You need more links, right? For those pages, $10. If we look at what we're selling Shuffle now for right now as the whole ecosystem, it's $30 per month. We're just giving people an option that if they don't need all 3 of those together, we can break it out and they can say, look, you know what? I just need one business card, but I need to know who is viewing it. Okay, great. You need your free business card and CRM. Oh, my client says they don't care about relationships. They're already using another CRM, Infusionsoft, Salesforce, what have you, Zoho, but they need marketing materials. You know what I mean? Okay, great. Get your one free business card, add additional pages, and if you want, add more links so you can track where you're putting those pages. You could get away with $10 a month, $20 a month, or $30 a month for everything. If you need more pages, you're going to be scaling that up. We're going to have users who are going to have 50 cards, and they're going to be paying $50 a month. You know what I mean? So it becomes this scalable thing that depending on who you're helping, there's a package for them, even if it means they just get a free business card. Sound like a plan, everybody?
Yep.
Okay.
3 hours worth of plan.
Well, hey, that's the whole goal, guys. Again, I don't do this because you guys paid me specifically to do this. I do this because I know the high tide raises all ships, because you guys are part of my LFI family, and I want to see you guys as successful as you want to be. And I know that your success ends up being our success as well. So again, if you were on here this whole time, I want to thank you so much for committing some of your time today. Ultimately, moving forward, we're going to try to condense all of this stuff down to about an hour, 1 day a week, right? 5 hours a week total. And we're going to ask you to invite people to participate in that so that we can do some of the heavy lifting for you. And ultimately, what that will result in is over the next 52 weeks, you're going to add 52 people, and you're going to be creating $1,000 a month in passive residual income, because a portion, a subset of those people will remain subscribed and start duplicating your efforts. That's the simple process. We did the whole planning. I encourage you to do the individual planning for the other areas of the Wheel of Life. And let's get into activity. Let's take this 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time. And I know if you commit to the next month, 3 months, 6 months, year, you're going to make more progress in 2022 than from where you are. And you're going to have something to show for it. And even if you get 50% of the way to your goal, it's going to be 50% further along than you are right now. So guys, thank you so much. Yep.
What time with the Tuesday thing? I know you said you're going to
2 p.m. Central Time. Okay, 2 p.m. Central Time. That's 1 p.m. Mountain Time, because we are international essentially, but we do a lot of stuff nationwide. We've got a lot of Central group. That's Kathy, who's leading that. She's based out of Dallas. So it's going to be 2 p.m. Central. If you're on Mountain Time, 1 p.m. If you're Pacific, it's at noon. We're trying to make it flexible so that you can come to these lives. If you cannot make those lives, 10 a.m. on Monday, Mountain Time, right? 1 p.m. Mountain Time on Tuesday. Wednesdays in the evening around 7 p.m. Okay. On Thursdays, it's going to be 10. On Fridays, it's going to be 10, both Mountain Time. Those will be led by Guy and I, Monday, Thursday, and Friday. Tuesdays with Kathy. Wednesday is with EGI, Edge Global, on Mindset of a Champion.
And you
okay, guys.
You keep it Thursday for 11?
Thursday is going to be 10 a.m. Mountain Time.
Okay.
Okay. Well, guys, here it is. I know tomorrow I'm not going to be around, so I don't know if Guy's going to be doing Friday with the Founders, but we'll be making a post on that. Otherwise, we'll be leading into the weekend. Again, will, skill, refill. If you haven't done your planning, you've got a few days until the first of the year, but not much time. Do your planning. Break it down. Where are you at now? Where do you visualize what 10 out of 10 are, and what is your plan, the incremental step you'll do daily that will take you in that direction? We'll add steps as we build momentum. On Monday, okay, we're going to be doing sprint planning. We'll talk about the plan process. We'll do it in a quick nutshell. We'll open up some conversation. Hopefully, if you've watched this and you join us, you're going to participate in talking a little bit about your plan and contribute. Again, Danon, Shelly, everybody, thank you so much for the contributions you made to this call. And if you know somebody who needs to watch it, like, send the replay out. Okay, that's going to be Monday sprint planning. There will be a replay that goes out after that as well. Tuesday, 2 p.m., Wednesday in the evening, Thursday at 10. Then we're back at Friday with the Founders. And it will be that same thing each and every week for the next 52 weeks, guys. Unless we get 6 months from now or even a quarter from now and we're not yielding those results for you guys, we'll make the adjustment. But right now, I know if you guys commit to doing the inviting and the sharing, and we build that community and work as a community to help all of those guests understand what all of us have already seen, we're going to build our networks together. Okay, guys?
Together we shall ascend.
Woo! Thank you so much, Shelly. Okay, you guys, I will see you guys bright and early on Monday.
Happy New Year.
Wait till Friday to change the free card. I think I got a plan. I just can't implement it because I made plans for the new year.
No worries. No worries. We'll get it done. Okay, guys, have a great new year. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys on the next call. Take care.
Have a nice lunch.